Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast, brought to you by the Adventure Archive. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Hunter.
And today we are going to be reading and reviewing Viking Death Squad from Runehammer. This is... Gosh, it's interesting, and I really love this.
It's pretty fucking cool. I will say that this is like, I did really enjoy, the lore's pretty dense in this book, but damn it if it's not super fucking cool.
Yeah, and
if
you know
you're
me,
a fan
I'm
of like fucking metal and Black Sabbath, and like this is a great game for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, considering it was literally designed based on war pigs from Black Sabbath, in the book, Hankrin Fairnail talks about literally writing the lyrics to war pigs in his book and going, let's make a game, basically. And the book itself, I mean, we'll go over it again in a second, but this is not a special edition. This is the regular book, all foiled out.
I love when they have colored foil on the regular edition. You're like, oh, fuck yeah, every edition's special, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're listening to this, you're totally missing out, but there is a green foil cover that is really good looking. It looks really good. And then within the book, like the art is really, really good. And it definitely lends to this like metal, like semi-post-apocalyptic Viking.
Semi-post-apocalyptic. It's hardcore post-apocalyptic.
It is post-apocalyptic, but you know.
But yeah. The logo for the game, and again, because we have to remember that this is the podcast and people aren't. It's the green foil. It's like a Viking, but over like most of the face, it says Viking Death Squad on it with like an open mouth. And then on the side, it says Viking Death Squad on like silver foiling, and then completely blank otherwise. Like, I love just how clean it. Again, it looks like a special edition version of a book that would have like normally like a picture of like a scene or something on it, but it's just the normal version. So great stuff here. So we'll be getting into that, but we are going to start with our post-Zemo Kickstart the Podcast.
Oh, yeah. The glorious month of Zemo is over. All hail Zemo. And
Zemo was great.
Zemo was a lot of fun this year.
I'm still catching up on my credit card with that. So, yeah. So, but we actually have a bunch of physical rewards this week. So we're going to go light on the campaigns and heavy on the physical rewards. And Hunter, did you want to do your physical reward this week?
Yeah, I'll do mine first because I only have one. Yeah, let's have like 12. So
I got like 5. Let's kick over to Kickstart the Podcast physical rewards page.
Oh, I got the big win. I got the big window this time, motherfuckers. Cool. Yeah. So I received this fantastic book called A Profound Waste of Time. It is not a tabletop game. Is like a almost like a coffee table book about video game development and the art that goes into it. I'll bring it a little closer. So, you know what? I'm gonna have to turn off my background because you can't see this amazing, beautiful cover. So sorry for what my room looks like, y'all. But you know, if you're listening to the podcast, you don't know or care. So it has this fantastic, like glossy, shiny cover with this just totally trippy artwork. And yeah, you know, I've gone part of the way through it, and it's got a lot of really cool articles, a lot of games that we'll all recognize. I'm really happy with this project, and they released like a bunch of different ones, and I got the video game one because, you know, your boy do be gaming, you know. I'm very happy about that.
It's gorgeous. I almost backed this, but again, I think we talked about this before we started the stream. When I've done a lot of video gaming, I pick one and I play it for 1 million hours. So there's a lot of stuff in there that looked really amazing, but I honestly just don't have enough experience with it to really justify getting the book. And it's one of the few things that I decided to try to save a little bit of money on. But it looks beautiful.
It's one of the 3 Kickstarters I've ever backed that was not a tabletop game. And
I don't know if I backed...
I'm a super backer on Kickstarter, so that's you know.
Oh, nice. There you go. How many have you backed, do you think?
I think I'm close to 50.
Oh.
We're at 50.
Let me see what I'm at.
Ryan's gonna say 200.
Oh, more than that.
Oh, fuck me, really?
Oh yeah. I think pretty easily more than that. I'm at 236.
$236. 236. That's not that many, you know.
And I've gotten like 50 of them, you know. So, but
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
That was my
looks
one
really
physical
sick.
reward. So
Super cool looking book. That again, like I think I backed and unbacked that one like 3 times, and then luckily they caught me when I wasn't backing it when it finished. So yeah, well, luckily, quote unquote. It looks great though. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Did you get like a PDF and stuff with it?
I don't think so. No, I think I just got the book actually.
Gotcha.
There's so much cool stuff in here. There's like a whole. There's a whole section on fucking what's the game called? Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
there's a whole
that looks
Hollow
sick.
Knight
I really want to
section.
play that. It looks dope. Like
a
roguelike Soulsvania kind of.
Yeah.
Sick. So all right, physical rewards. I'm actually going to start with something that's not quite a physical reward yet, kind of. But the first one I'm looking at is it's Tiny Tome from Longtail Games.
Oh yeah.
We actually got this as a like preview copy prior to the Kickstarter, and actually the Kickstarter I mean, if you're watching this live, you know this, and if not, you'll hear it after. It drops tomorrow, Monday the 13th.
We're ahead of the curve on this one, y'all.
We are. Tiny Tome is a book of 50 single-page RPGs from dozens of different creators. Single page, it's like single spread, but it's fantastic. It's really, really beautiful. I love the way that they did the kind of index in the front.
Yeah.
It's got like the creator name on the left side, or the game, and then in the middle, it's like a one-line like what the game is. And then it's got the author and their at, so you can find them. And it's just really, really cool, really well done. A lot of the games are fantastic. And like each, when you go through, it's like a different spread for like each individual game. So, and so many of the games in here are really cool. And I imagine just picking up the book, having like 4 friends come over, and then just closing my eyes and flipping the pages and going, oh, today we're playing the Noisy Bunch, and then just playing the fucking game, because it's literally just like this just single spread for the game. You can easily do that. And there's so many cool games in here. So this is really, really gorgeous book. Again, this is a preview copy. We'll go over the actual Kickstarter page next week in our Kickstart the Podcast, but this is a little preview of the Tiny Tome. What will I guess most likely be like the physical reward you're going to get for it, unless I make some small tiny adjustments to it. But in my opinion, super worth it. Really gorgeous little book. And this many games in one single thing looks absolutely fantastic. So that's
pretty cool. Yeah. You know, I think that's a lot of bang for your buck. And I we always talk about that, like the most you like, you know, tabletop gaming is expensive. So anything you can get where it's like, yeah, it's a ton of adventures. It's like, okay, well, that's a great.
Seriously. Like it's super dope. They have a previous thing that they created. It was called, and I just want to make sure I get the name right for it. But it was a deck of cards that was Tiny Library. Yeah, it actually says inside from the people that did Tiny Library. That was like a deck of cards that had 50 RPGs on each card. Yeah, and I really want to get that. I think they just recently started doing the North American distribution for that. So as soon as it's actually able to purchase, I definitely want to snag one of those. So that's Longtail Games. Again, we'll go over that more in depth next week. Looks really fantastic. But I got a bunch more, so let's kick into those. Right, I got my Broken Luck from Ico and Perplexing Ruins. This is fantastic. You might know Ico from the Lost Bay podcast, where they interview a lot of just absolutely amazing creators on there, like Ian Newsom and all sorts of just great people within the community. They're about 30-minute episodes. They're super awesome to listen to. I've made it through a lot of their episodes. And then again, listen, not only
there's 30 minutes, you can make it through like 4 of their episodes in our runtime. So
if
you're listening to our podcast, might as well listen to theirs.
But this is fantastic. It's a 28-page color zine supplement for Space Fantasy Tabletop RPG Troika, with all the art done by the amazing Perplexing Ruins. It looks fantastic. There's some really amazing things in here. Like,
wow.
Which immortal did you piss off, right? Yeah, it looks fantastic. I got the this card that comes with it. Beautiful, because this was actually distributed by LFOSR, not the only LFOSR you'll see today. So you get these wonderful physical rewards like this. It's gorgeous, and it's got this 66. It's got like a roll table on the back. It's beautiful. I'm dumb, and I did not back it up the reward where I would get the. There was another card that would have this art on it, which really upsets me because
kill for that art. That art's fantastic. Right? If you're listening, the art that we're talking about is like it's this face that is like has no. It's like a head with no face, and the face is opened up, and it's just like a starscape on the inside.
Yep.
And that's the page he was talking about. It says, which immortal did you piss off?" And it's fantastic. You know what? Check out the VOD. Go to YouTube. Yeah.
Check out the VOD. And I need to remember that I need to remember this is the podcast and start
we always
remember to describe things a little better.
We're not listen, if you're listening.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
We're not great at this all the time, but we appreciate that you're here.
Well, we did take last week off. So anyway, yeah, it's beautiful. The art throughout is amazing. You could actually get I believe you could get that specific art as a t-shirt as well, and I'm super sad that I didn't get that. So yeah. I think I backed this not quite a while ago, but before we really dug deep into got more involved in the tabletop role-playing game community and found a lot of amazing creators like Perplexing Runes. Because if I had known more about them at the time, I would have backed this to the gills. And then the card that comes with it, it says "Oops" at the top, and there's this kind of like yellow like planet on it in front of this black and purple background that looks fantastic.
That's
and
cool.
Then you also got this other piece called the Life Egg, which is another.
There's a lot of LFOSR stuff that I missed on from also just being fairly new to the like more indie scene. That I'm just like, man, it's all the stuff that I really want, and a lot of stuff you're bringing up is like, yeah, this is exactly what I missed out on, or like Orbital by LFOSR is another really good one that I missed out on. That's out of stock on their side as well. But
a lot of amazing stuff. Yeah. And then just a lot of other amazing creators and distributors too, because all the shipping was done through Floating Share Club, Monkey Paw Games, and Rooks Press to hit like the USA, Canada, and Rooks and UK respectively, and they're all amazing. Tabletop game stores and stuff like that. So if you want to find a lot of really great content, I bought a lot of stuff from Floating Chair Club. Monkey Paw Games does more than distribution. They make a lot of amazing games too. And Rooks Press does a lot of great stuff. So go check out all of that stuff. But this is a physical reward from Broken Luck. It's gorgeous. This is definitely a Kickstarter that was well worth it, and I wish I had backed it at an even higher level at the time. And Troika, I gotta keep stocking up on all my Troika stuff, so I'll eventually play that one day. Right. The next thing, another one that has LFOSR on it. This is Alien Armory from, I believe it's NYHUR, NYHUR. You might know them from a recently super successful Kickstarter that they did. It was the one that had the deck of cards for Merkborg. That also had like all the adventures associated with it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, vaguely. I don't think I backed it because I'm working more towards a mothership and OSE collection right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I didn't back that project either because my problem was there was so much extra content you could get with it that if I backed it, I would have backed it for like $300.
Yeah.
And since we're probably going to be moving soon, I didn't want a ton of like physical stuff. But it looked absolutely stunning. I'm sure as soon as people start posting those on Twitter, I'm going to be very sad I didn't back it. But they do make amazing content.
That does happen.
And this is and this is one of them. This is Alien Armory. It's a collection of biopunk weapons, armors, and equipment compatible with Mothership. And I backed it at the level that you got this beautiful, it's the special edition one. So there's a regular
you can only
cover.
get Alien Armory now in black and white on Drive-Thru RPG.
Really?
Yeah.
So the interior is black and white.
Oh, okay.
What's
So
different,
it is black and white interior then.
yeah.
So.
But what's different about this one versus a normal cover is this, when what you see in my hands right now, for those in the podcast world, is this kind of like whitish cover that's like see-through to some art underneath, but it's actually a dust cover on the outside.
Yeah,
that has all
cool.
of the that has all of the, I'm taking it off now. It's got all of the info for the book on the dust cover itself. It says Alien Armory, Mothership, and all the stuff on the back. Alien Armory is a collection of bomb punk weapons. It's got near Gene Peratt, who did all the art, and LFOSR on the back. So of course I got a dope LFOSR sticker as well. And then the book itself, because it's a special edition, is completely virgin. Like, it's just this really, really awesome like biopunk art around like front and back. And there's not even anything on the spine or anything. It's completely just the artwork, and it's freaking beautiful. And when you actually look at the art inside, it's all these biopunk style weapons, and each page is a piece of art. And then there is like a quote at the bottom, like basically about it. So for example, I'll switch to the Euliotera, right, on page 17. It's this weird kind of like legged, long-necked thing. It is a weapon. On the bottom it says Eulioters are carrion creatures and usually use a carcass for nesting. If you have been paralyzed by a big one, they can crawl inside your orifices and make sure you won't get up again. And then there's a whole page on the type weapon and things like that. So super cool. Yeah. So yeah. So that's another thing from LFOSR. And yeah.
Yeah, always appreciate their work, you know?
Oh, every like if LFOSR's name's on a project, I'll back it sight unseen. Period. Next one we got is Highcaster. This one,
I don't know anything about this one. I'm really interested in this.
It's super cool. It is a narrative-driven epic fantasy RPG from Christopher Gray, published by Gallant Knight Games. Gallant Knight has a bunch of amazing stuff. They do a lot of the publishing for like Diogo Nogueira, Diogo Old Skull, cool. And a lot of other really cool stuff. But this, I have the PDF of this. I didn't dig too deep into it because I was honestly waiting for the physical reward. And then I got the book and was like, fuck, now I need to read it. It's this big, gorgeous book. The layout inside is fantastic. I mean, look at this. The art inside is fantastic. Look at these pages. Like, so there's this kind of bluish, like, I think it's Inomes is the creature. It's like fawnish kind of creature. It's a heritage. But it's a big, thick boy too. It is
same.
Yeah, right. Gosh, it's like 300 pages. So, and the book itself is gorgeous. The art's gorgeous. It's got a really interesting style to the whole thing is about creating legends within the gameplay and stuff like that. So it looks really cool. Maybe this is something we'll go over sometime. But Highcaster, super cool, big, thick book with what looks like a really cool system. So that's another one that is really, really neat. And then my last one is going to be Keurik's Cursed Chapbook from Philip Reed. And you know we're big Philip Reed fans here. This is a 36-page micro hex crawl that explores the twisted lands to the southeast of Galgenbeck. One of my favorite things about this is this was the original project and it was $9. The original 36-page book. It's a small little book, but with stretch goals, the book itself is not numbered. 36 pages. It's got maps from Dyson logos in it, which is really cool. It's got that Philip Reed style, which is like Merkborg, but his take on it, which is great. But with stretch goals, it actually unlocked a micro GM screen that's got this beautiful art on the outside and right?
That's awesome.
20 more pages of random encounters on the inside that aren't in the regular book. And there were more stretch goals.
Reading glasses on to see that shit, dog.
Oh yeah. There were more stretch goals. There was this card that comes with D12.
Oh my god, I fucking love this.
Right? Adventure sparks on one side and unexpected encounters on the other. And I'm sorry, there's even more for your $9 plus shipping. There is a poster adventure that's a 2-player that I've read and is great, and we should play it sometime. Called Prisoner of the Skulls. And again, it's just for a GM and 1 player. Another amazing Dyson Logos map on the backside. 15 rooms. I'm not going to say too much about this because I don't want to to give you any spoilers because I'd love to play this with you. But all of this was just stretch goals, and they were close to another stretch goal.
I can't believe that was so little money.
$9. It's insane.
It's
and then, again, all of the stretch goals. Well, that's part of Philip Reed's stuff. I mean, he does so many awesome Kickstarters and all of these different, because the book is quite small. I don't know if it gives the I'm sure it does give the size on the book if I look at it here. But I'm not going to find it quick enough. But yeah, it's an awesome little book for the cost. It was super, again, you get so much to the stretch goals, and he loves doing alternative formats and stuff. So a lot of the things that you see like behind me are these like brochure adventures or these really long books, or he recently did one that was like a tiny hardback book, like a 4x6 tiny hardback. Yeah. And the other thing that I really, really, really love about Philip Reed's stuff is like 99% of it's done before he puts a Kickstarter up. So this finished on, oh gosh, I wish I can look at the updates real quick and go back to the beginning. It finished not that long ago, literally just a couple of, maybe a month or two. It funded on February 9th. February 9th, this funded. This has been in my hands for a week.
Really?
Seriously, it's
insane.
You
gotta love when they're like, "Oh, I'm already done with it. I just need
it's
the
already
funding."
Done.
Like,
and that's what he does. And he does like 5-10 projects a month, because as soon as that one was done, he did the hardback one, and then after the hardback one was done, we can go into our regular Kickstart the Podcast. Even though I didn't set the windows up correctly, so I need to do that real quick. And there's another project that I want to talk about for a running campaign right now, called Playgrave. So let me kick over to not the physical rewards, regular Kickstart the Podcast, and actually do the correct Kickstarter window.
We'll get there. We're getting back in the swing of things,
Yeah, totally. 1 week off and it totally screws us, but there it is. It's called Playgrave, a soundscape for fantasy RPGs by Philip Reed. So this is, since I backed Keurig, this is the second Kickstarter that he's put out already. And this, again, it was to me within like 3 weeks of finishing. So,
love that.
Right? Just love that, again, he finishes the stuff and gets it to you immediately. Basically, as soon as the money clears, he starts mailing stuff out. Fantastic. So this project is called Playgrave, a soundscape for fantasy RPGs. It's 5 tracks and 5 short encounter seeds that a GM can string together. And not only that, again, we talked about him wanting to do like a lot of different formats. This is a mini disc, which, if anyone is old enough to remember what mini discs are, they were popular for like 1 second, maybe. Never really gained too much popularity. But he wanted to make a mini disc, so he actually is making a mini disc with this beautiful like piece of art on the front, which is like a skeleton warrior. A lot of the cool stuff. Another one of these really, really cool things. If you can back it for $1 to get the PDF of like the adventure and a digital edition and all that kind of stuff with the actual songs on it. Or at $12, you get the print edition of it. So you get the digital, but you also get the Curix print, which just happened. But at $20, you get the mini disc. What's cool, what I do like about it is that, if I remember reading this correctly, afterwards, all of the audio is going to be free for people to have.
Nice.
So you'll be able to
my mini disc player,
Right. Yeah, all 5 tracks are on SoundCloud right now. You can just go listen to it. It's fantastic. And then you can add, a lot of what he does is you can always back his old stuff, like Atticus Tower, which is a CD that he did, and some other stuff. But long story short, we love Philip Reed. Philip Reed does amazing Merkborg stuff. He does amazing different format stuff. Mini disc is one of the weirdest ones. I think in the comments, or maybe on Twitter, someone mentioned trying to do an 8-track. And he said that he found someone that was willing to do 8-track, but that they wouldn't do anything satanic or demonic. And he sent them some of his past stuff, like Merkborg stuff, and they just stopped emailing him back. So we'll see if we get to 8-track.
That's fucking hilarious and also super weird, but it's weird that that's their,
Right. Well, the world we live in today. But that is Playgrave, which is our transition from Philip Reed's physical rewards to the digital campaign. And then you have, what are you looking at today?
DNGN Dungeon.
Dungeon,
a weird fantasy mega dungeon. So this is a fantastic OSE mega dungeon. So sorry, I'm still waking up. By Singing Flame. It's supposed to be like one of several issues. It's like a 100 layer dungeon, and every issue of this is going to be 10 levels of it. So it's quite a bit. It's like quite a bit already in here. So it's 10 levels. It's 36 pages. And there's 80 plus rooms to explore. Beautiful graphic design. The art in it actually looks really fantastic. And the layouts are really super, super easy to use on just like a grid paper that you're like using for your party. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. It looks really cool. I definitely back this one because I'm trying to make a big OSE collection. I think it's hit all of its stretch goals. It has a $20,000 stretch goal that's just a bunch of question marks. But yeah, all the stretch goals I think are. This is not the one that's all digital. Yeah, the stretch goals added a bunch to the book. I'm really excited about it. Honestly, I just backed it because if we scroll down, if you're following along on at home, the art on it is so ridiculously cool. It's so fucking. It's my favorite style of old school dungeon fantasy art. And I was just really into it, so I immediately backed it. Plus, OSE. Yeah.
Well,
there is
some of the art in it again. Diego Old Skull, the one that we backed a bunch of their projects. Like he did the cover for like Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland and stuff. So. Yeah,
such a fucking good name for a book. So there's it plus super affordable, right? If you want to get the PDF plus all digital stretch goals, it's $5. If you want to be a retail distributor, it's $150. If you want somewhere in between where you're getting the print copy, the PDF, all print stretch goals and all digital stretch goals, it's $15.
That's it.
It's so good. I think that's so affordable. And there's 5 days to go. If you're listening to this, you might be right on the cusp of it. But go check it out. I think it's really cool. There's a better explanation on there than I just gave you because I'm still kind of sleepy boy, still waking up. We lost an hour of sleep last night. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really stoked on this. And plus, I like mega dungeons. And for OSE, mega dungeons are like perfect. Yeah, exactly what I want for it.
It's so good. And then with all the stretch goals and stuff too, like the book itself is super upgraded because going through that there's more pieces of art, a higher quality heavy stock cover, again more artwork with 2 pages from Diego Noguera, more artwork with 2, and then 2 bonus levels were unlocked, so you don't get 10, you get 12.
So 12, yeah,
and then 15,000 was unlocked but haven't announced it yet, and they're within striking range of the 20,000. So like you said, I definitely want to start.
They're at 16,000 right now, so they're about 4,000 away from the 20,000. They have 5 days left to go. I'm interested to see if it makes that 20,000. I actually, at this point, don't think it will.
We'll see. I mean, there could be we could push them for $4,000.
Yeah, it could be a last minute push, just all thanks to the weekly scroll. So.
Yeah, but also, a last minute push in general too can always push them close. So we'll see what happens. But the risograph print, I mean, this looks amazing. And like you said, I really like that it's going to be like a series of these and how inexpensive they are. $15 to get this in your hands.
$15, dude. I mean,
it's not bad.
$5.
If you want digital, fuck yeah.
If you want digital and you want physical copy, which is very viable, $5. I have the e-reader. I bring it to the table when I play games sometimes. I can put it on that. Yeah, I like it. I like little projects like that. I love like OSR, OSE stuff. I like old school D&D. I want to use THAC0.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm super excited to do that. And then I know you backed the OSE.
I did.
Yeah,
box,
and I already have those. So at some point
we haven't really brought up on the show. If you're wondering why we haven't brought up the OSE on the show, it's because that you all fucking know about it. If you're listening to this, you know about the project. It doesn't need us to bump it. No. Well, we actually did kind of we talked about it the last episode 2 weeks ago. Did we?
Yeah, we're like, we don't really need to talk about this, and then we talked about it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's at $660,000 right now, so it really doesn't need our help.
It doesn't need us, but yeah, and we will be going over some bigger stuff at some point. Maybe splitting to 2 episodes. We decided to go over like DCC and OSC and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we'll hit that. And then we can bring up a lot of these cool OSC adventures and stuff that are coming up. And then I had one more for today, and we're still making great time on it. It is called The Exiles. This is from Emma Acosta. It is a dark fantasy RPG. A blight-touched exiles crawl their way out of hell in this Crescent Moon expansion. Apparently, so she made a game called the Crescent Moon RPG, which is an all-ages fantasy adventure game where you play as brave children, venturing into a strange patchwork world. Its light rules are ideal for telling whimsical coming-of-age stories about friendship, memory, and self-discovery. So, again, and it's reminiscent of Forged in the Dark and Powered by the Apocalypse. So, I mean, it sounds fantastic. It's a great thing to put out there. An RPG that's like super kid friendly with kid adventures. It reminds me of Quest a little bit in like the vibe. Yeah. But generally, it's not a game that I would generally have gone for or backed. I might have grabbed it from like Exalted Funeral in the future. But what the Exiles is specifically an expansion to that, where you tell the story of young outcasts banished from the human realm by their own kind and forced to journey through the below, an otherworldly hellscape no one said is have ever escaped from until now. This is
very much your speed. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this is specifically, I think, designed to be like, it says Crescent Moon is for heartwarming stories where the power and friendship wins the day. Exiles tells tales of blood and strife, of hard choices and tearful endings. So this feels like the kind of adult version of Crescent Moon, and I was like, perfect. Crescent Moon sounded cool, not my speed. Exile sounds exactly my speed.
Totally.
So it looks really, really cool. There's a lot of it says there's world building character options. You highlight the inner shadows of your characters to fight against the blight. There's blood dye. As soon as the game has blood dye, you got me. Describes itself as a point crawl nightmare, and you use collaborative world building. It looks really fantastic. I'm super excited. They do have an actual play here from Plus One EXP with Tony Vicinda, which is really cool. The art on the cover looks really fantastic. It is this kind of like, again, like a child wielding this like pure white sword with this like scream on their face. It's got a lot of motion. It looks really, really cool. So I actually, and on top of that, there's apparently a second printing, a revised copy of the original Crescent Moon, which has some like typos, clarifications, and quality of life improvements, which is part of the campaign you can get as well. There is an FAQ because I wanted to know if you could play Exiles without Crescent Moon. They added an FAQ that basically said you can, but it's better to have Crescent Moon because Exiles is written as if you've read the other one. Right. So I backed it at a level where, because you can back so you can back either individually. You can back Exiles PDF, you can back Exiles Crescent Moon PDF, you can back Exiles print in PDF, you can back Crescent Moon print in PDF, or you can get the highest tier called Crossing Fates, which is the Exiles print and PDF, the Crescent Moon print and PDF, and exclusive serigraph print, plus all unlocked rewards. It says here in the Kickstarter that they're actually going to hand do all the printing, like at their university. So they're like hand done printings. Yeah. So yeah. It's already funded. It's at 5,500 right now with 18 days to go. But it's 7,000. It upgrades all physical rewards to what they're calling the Forbidden Set, which it upgrades it to a set of item cards, a package of character sheets, and a drawstring C5 envelope to carry it all. So basically, you go from just the book to a bunch of physical rewards just as a stretch goal for getting to 7,000. It hit 5,500 pretty quickly, so I'm hoping in the next 18 days I can easily get another 1,300.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, right. So and then the Yeah, so the Forbidden set looks cool. It's within reach. The prints look really cool. So yeah, so go back this. Yeah, so go back this. Go all the way to the Crossing Fates, or at least get the Accursed Tome print in PDF. It's only $19. The Crossing Fate one is $49. It is, I believe, from Portugal, even though it's in USD. So the shipping is just a little bit something for the US, I think.
Yeah.
It does give a really great breakdown of shipping by area. So shipping rates to the US for the Exiles and Crescent Moon is $16. Not too bad, but I mean, also not fantastic either. But it is coming from overseas, so you know, you get what you get. And we mentioned them before. We'll mention them again because they're fantastic, not just as a shop, but as a distribution center. Floating Chair Club, once again, for US distribution. Yeah. Great stuff again from Floating Chair Club. I really love that they're really popping up on a lot of these like indie TTRPGs for like distribution. Between them, like Ratty and Katati, Rooks Press, a lot of those guys are doing really fantastic stuff to be able to get especially marginalized and inclusive creators projects out to people. So they've done a lot of fantastic work. So that is, I believe that's everything for Kickstart the Podcast today. We have a bunch more, but we're going to try to split them up because we got you know, a little farther out end dates on some of those. But definitely wanted to hit this one early so that we can keep that early push going for this. Again, the Exiles looks fantastic. Go back it. Super good.
Good.
So good. So I believe that's all the physical rewards and campaigns we have for the day. I mean, for right now. And are you ready to get into? Are you ready to jump into Viking Death Squad?
We're out of time.
we just yeah. So Viking Death Squad, you ready for this?
Wait, what are we doing? No, I'm kidding.
We're doing Viking Death Squad.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Again,
I did not set that page up again. So let me see if I'm close.
So I'll regale our podcast with a tale of woe.
Oh nope, we're good.
Never mind, we're here. Good. I didn't have one. I was gonna make it up right then.
Yeah, we're mostly good. I just have to adjust a little bit. There we go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Viking Death Squad PDF 1.4.
Yeah.
That's extra good. It's not 1. It's 1.4, you know?
Oh, yeah. One thing I did notice, and well, I guess I can point it out a little bit while we're doing the thing too, is there are some typos in this that I found. But what's great is I immediately then checked the book, and they're not in the book. So whichever PDF 1.5 or whatever that they put out, they caught all of that, which is fantastic, and fixed it. So shout out to them.
Scott Merrill and Lon Prater, because that's their editors.
Yeah, for finding it and getting it out there. Fantastic.
Yeah, before the actual physical book, it's a big deal.
Yeah, just a little bit. Let me bump this down a little bit, fix it in the windows a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, so this is Viking Death Squad. This is from Runehammer, which is Henkran Fairnail, who has incredibly popular YouTube channel. This is also one of those. Oh yeah. I know that Jason really likes him a lot. Watches a lot of their stuff. I haven't gone through a lot of it before I started reading this, and afterwards I've watched a bunch of their videos. A lot of really cool stuff. And I definitely want to dig a lot deeper into the YouTube channel popular. After. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I've known of Runehammer and stuff like that for a long time, but again, hadn't really looked at it. But this is going to be one of those games where the person who wrote this game definitely knows like about a bajillion times more about game design than we do. So just a quick reminder to everybody out there. We are just a couple of assholes with most likely terrible opinions about things. Yeah. So all of this is really subjective to our current tastes. And we are probably wrong about some stuff. So take that into account when you're listening. And again, the author knows a lot more than we do. But also, I mean, I don't have a lot of like critique about this book in general. It looks really fantastic and amazing. So again, real quick, the cover, gosh, it's beautiful.
It's really good looking.
it's this Viking logo with a Viking face, and right where the eyes and nose would be, it says Viking Death Squad. It's got this like open mouth with these gnarled teeth and this beard coming off of it. Green foil on the front, Viking Death Squad written in silver foil on the side, nothing on the back. Again, looks like a special edition book, but it's just the regular book. So fucking shout out for that. It's so it's pretty. Viking Death Squad.
It's not hyperlinked.
I know it's not hyperlinked. Crushed my soul just a little bit. When you open the PDF, though, you do get the cover art inside on just like a black and white, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then, not hyperlinked. There's 6 sections. Earth, URTH, Earth, 10,191.
Earth with a U.
Love it. Which is the lore section. There's Roll the Dice, which is the basics of the game. There's Crucible of Heroes, which is character creation. There's the Master's Pentacle, which is the whole Game Master section. Cool. The Enemy, which is all of it's basically the Bestiary, and then Blood and Justice, which is a bunch of example encounters in the back. I'll tell you right now, like, I've knocked some other games for not having enough lore in their book. This has fucking oozing out of it. I mean, the first 20 pages
so much lore. Yeah,
my God.
And the lore is really cool. The setting is super cool.
So good. The first 20 pages are all just lore. The GM section has a ton more lore and secrets and stuff in it. The enemies individually have a ton of lore, and then the last I think 20-30 pages are all like we just said, example encounters and scenes, which give you more lore. And then even more in the GM section, it goes through each individual part of the planet, giving you adventure seeds for each section. So, I mean, so much lore. This is exactly what I want from this kind of book. And it's only like 130 pages. So let's get into it. I actually, because I'm not going to read all 20 pages of lore. That's your fucking job. Again, there is a section.
You give this guy your money and buy it and fucking read it.
There is a section later where he talks about, and we'll hit it later to make sure that I do it correctly, but he said he literally wrote down, this is a book inspired by War Pigs from Black Sabbath. That's why I'm rocking my Black Sabbath shirt today. And it actually has like a Viking looking warrior on it. Don't know if you saw that. Like skeletal.
Yeah.
So he wrote down the lyrics to War Pigs and was like, how can I turn this into adventure? And he wrote this game from it. So what I really like are these variations on the lyrics that he wrote in here. And in my head, I read it as if I'm singing War Pigs, but I'm not going to do that on stream. But it says, in distant centuries they lie, poisoning with greedy minds, relentless thirst for power, now in its final hour. Only hell remains defying as the moon and stars are dying. Once 10,000, only 10, Lucifer to bring the end. Like,
hell yeah, bro.
So good. Love those variations of the War Pigs lyrics. I actually wrote up a little something for the lore, because we're just going to scroll through those first 20 pages.
We've learned a lesson about reading extra dense books and how much time it actually takes. But this first piece of art is great. It's so for you to listening, it's like a spaceship that is shaped like a sword facing the moon that's essentially crumbling away because the moon is mostly destroyed, or is completely destroyed in the lore now.
I think it's mostly destroyed.
It's such a cool piece of artwork. It's really, I like it a lot. I also like that it's black and white except the ship, which is like this gold yellow. Very cool. Yeah.
Looks super, super dope. And I like all of the font used throughout is this very like black letter, like super textured grunginess to it. And it's really, really beautiful. I will go through some of the introduction and fundamentals real quick because it gives you like a little breakdown. Viking Death Squad is a game of desperate odds and thunderous drums. It's a world of burning iron and power armor, of supernatural darkness and technological terrors, of heavy metal and lightless starships. Earth in the year, URTH, Earth. The year is 10,191 because it's the 100th century, and don't forget there was no 0 year and shit. A vast empire called the Infinitum, also known as the War Pigs, has left all in ruin in an endless quest for immortality and supreme power. To make things worse, Lucifer, Prince of Darkness, has joined the fray, using the chaos to prey on mankind from below the surface. And that is the world that you live in. The fundamentals of the game: growling guitars and sinister synthwave, demons, machines, and battle axes, basements and black markers. Basically, that one's saying that it's just a pen and paper index card game. And yeah. So going into the lore, so I'll scroll through this. First of all, the art, again, is amazing. And I love how you said it's mostly black and white, but then each one has like a color pop on it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, love it. Super
like there's
cool.
this like cyborg here with these like sharp teeth. And then it's got this, what almost looks like blood or...
blood, yeah.
Yeah, like
wires,
dripping,
you know?
It's wiring, yeah. It looks like blood, but it's wiring, just red pop on it. And then on the next page, you get this this creature with this, it looks like in a spaceship with this mask on, but around its neck has this like collar of red and this red eye pop on it. It looks fantastic. Yeah, so lore wise, it's Earth 10,191, right? Yeah. And so it's 100th century, and there are this empire called the Infinitum, also known as the War Pigs, who rain down Borgs and basically destruction from cathedral ships in space. And they've been doing this for so long. The reason they're still doing it is lost in history at this point. It's been like thousands of years. Yeah, right. And then there's a rebellion of mostly humans called the Screaming Skulls that are trying to fight back, right? Yeah.
Such a good name.
Right? So some of the main people, I guess, within that humanity that are helping fight back are these humans that grew up on war pig ships that have to learn technology in order to maintain all of the machinery up there. So they become like brilliant machinists and inventors and builders. And when they escape and can actually make it to humanity, they become these like boons to humanity to be able to create machines and stuff like that to be able to fight back, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But within that, I'll get back to the technology section. There are these beings called the Immortals. They are these history's mightiest warriors, these Vikings that have been in cryostasis for thousands of years, because the war pigs have operated for thousands of years as a secret society of evildoers and warmongering profiteers. And they have had these incredible warriors on ice basically for this long and used them against humanity. But cryostasis is torture, so the Immortals are not fans of their like creators, these war pigs. But in 10,170, a human engineer aboard a war pig grave ship. Grave ships apparently are where all of the Immortals were stored basically in cryostasis, because the war pigs would send Immortals to Earth, and when one died, they would just drop another one out of the ship onto the planet.
Very 40K, you know?
Yeah. Oh, hardcore influenced by 40K. Yeah, hardcore influenced by 40K. But apparently in 10,170, a human engineer destroyed the grave ships and freed the Immortals. So those stasis pods are still like dropping down to the Earth at this time. And then the Immortals, pissed off because they were tortured in cryostasis for thousands of years, joined humanity in the fight against the war pigs. Yeah.
Sick.
The Immortals are, they are juggernauts, standing over 10 feet tall with massive suits of armor, heavy weapons, giant blades, codes of courage, and they're the greatest warriors from Earth history. Very 40K again. And there's this great piece of art of this just massive fucking beast of a
Viking
person.
Space Marine. Yeah.
Viking Space Marine. Yeah. With this like yellow pop on it.
Super cool into that, you know?
Yeah. It looks so badass.
So I love this next piece of art too. We're gonna see,
dude. This one right here with like I
just demolished like a gigantic fucking monster skull. It looks like Ava Unit 1, just like
it looks so cool.
Dead on the ground. Its rib cage is like sticking out of the ground. There's some guy standing on there for scale. Fantastic piece of art. And it's funny because actually in the back of this, you can see the moon, like it's mostly broken up in the background. And I saw this and I was like, damn, it's a really good piece of art.
It's so good. And the art is so good for the setting too. You know what I mean? Like it's we've talked about this before. When the art reinforces the style and the setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks fantastic. So the Warlands, or Earth's surface, is covered with smoldering magma, frozen wastelands, hellholes, which are actually holes to hell, because hell's real, and hunter ships, and these like skulking like dogs, these iron-skinned horrors, creations of the war pigs that just like sweep across the surface trying to kill humanity.
So it's a lot like modern day Detroit.
Yeah, well, yes, I've never been to Detroit. Yeah.
Sorry if you're from Detroit and you're listening to this. I'm also sorry it takes like the cops 15 minutes to get to you, but.
And the firestorms on the surface were created by thermite warheads that were fired into our orbit to burn away the atmosphere, that just create these fast-moving pyroclasmic heat, wind, and ash storms that sweep over fucking Earth. Like basically you're fucked if you're on Earth. Yeah, right?
Everything's a hellscape. It's all terrible.
I love the concept. Yeah, I love the concept of the hunter ships. The hunter ships remind me of what was the Pitch Black movie, but the second one? Riddick,
yeah.
You know how they had those like giant, a lot of this reminds me of Riddick. They had those giant ships, those like really tall ships that they would like set down and like drop troops on.
Chronicles of Riddick, because there's
Chronicles of Riddick.
There's Chronicles of Riddick, and then just Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah,
the hunter ships remind me of that a ton.
Is a very underrated sci-fi movie, and people say it's bad. It's amazing. Watch it.
Easily one of my favorite movies ever, dude. I love Chronicles of Riddick. It's so good.
But there's the necro ships that drop on the
dude. Yeah. So the hunter ships remind me so much of that, and there's this great piece of art of this like
that's why I have a shaved head, right? Is because I'm a huge Riddick fan.
Oh yeah, that's what I assumed. Vin Diesel, right?
Vin Diesel, baby.
Yeah. There's this great piece of art of this ship over this kind of like settlement that is just a super tall thing that obviously can just drop down. But the hunter ships are the scourge of the warlands, gigantic columns of stone and iron hovering silently over the wastelands. These warships patrol all of Earth. They drop thousands of cyborg war machines if they set down, and none of them have ever been destroyed because they use relic technology. And then, I'll get into relic technology in a second. The other thing is the rings, which is these rings that formed 5,000 years ago, or over the last 5,000 years, mostly made of fragments of Earth's moon, and that's where the war pigs and the Infinitum fleet stay. And then there's also some Screaming Skull outposts in there that are always hunted down by the war pigs. So really cool. I like the dead clouds. Over the centuries, countless ships have been smashed to atoms by the war pigs and their rivet cannons. As a result, there's a macabre scene often found in Earth's orbit: the vast clouds of corpses drifting like leaves in a river.
God, it's so fucking everything about this is so brutal.
Right? Yeah. They also have these quantum gates, which is new technology, new relic technology that the war pigs use to move around. And then there's rumors of the last grave ship, which is a piece of art on this page. It's these grave-shaped ships that used to house all the immortals over top of what looks like Earth. And it's just, again, a beautiful fucking piece of art. And there's rumors that there's one grave ship left that's full of immortals that are still in the war pigs' control, but no one's been able to find it. So, the relic technology is basically all small, delicate equipment is gone. So like no electronics, no any of that. It all is just steady state, single material tech. So it's basically just iron and rivets, and that's it. Except there's this stuff called relic tech, which is mind-bending powers that the war pigs have to create this technology. Like guns that fire flaming skulls and blades covered in fire and stuff. So cool. And no one knows how the relic tech works.
It's so on message. Yeah, if you're not realizing this is going to be a Ryan heavy episode, I definitely did skim this book, but this is definitely a Ryan pick. Although, it's a good fucking pick,
It's a good, this is definitely right up my fucking alley. Super excited. Because Jason actually told me about this one.
This is a very you game. So.
Oh yeah. There's also The Forest, which covers part of Earth, which is the entire Eurasian supercontinent covered by a giant fungus and a poisonous ecosystem of oversized insectoids and spore-driven undead.
That a little bit reminded me of Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind, if you've ever...
A little bit, yeah. So the fungal dead are literally like spores that can get inside the dead and reanimate them to create legions of shambling skeletons. And then there's these things called titans, which are these like insanely massive, like million legs and million eyes, like impenetrable shelled, like weird giant mushroomish creatures that are in the forest, that are like the biggest things that have ever walked the surface of the earth. And the infinitum is unable to uproot or destroy the forest. Like this mushroom forest is so dense on the outside, it doesn't succumb to like the bombings and stuff. It just like shrugs it off, and it literally covers the entire Eurasian continent.
That's crazy. Yeah, I love that. I love this art too, where it is the Titan, where it's just like this massive bug, like tons of eyes. It's really the stuff of kind of nightmares. Hardcore fungal nightmares. And then again, there's a tiny little person for scale. It's fucking huge. And then there's also hell, which is a real place. It is a vast oubliette deep within Earth, forming a semi-spherical cavity between the mantle and the blazing hot core. And now Lucifer, after seeing all of the chaos from the war pigs, decided to join the fight with his legions. He's like, you know what? This is a good time as any to walk out, huh? There's actually a part in here that talks about the best way to get into hell, because some humans are trying to like maybe side with hell to fight off the war pigs or whatever, is to actually drop from basically like low orbit and just find a hellhole and shoot down through the hellhole so they can break through into this like the cavern or whatever of hell down inside. So you can literally just like get in the little fucking thing and just shoot through the surface to break through the magma. There are barons of hell that control like rings or circles within hell itself, but there is this dude Azael who apparently wants to beat Lucifer and become the prince of hell. Azael the Butcher, a greater demon who considers Lucifer a weakling. So a great piece of art here on the bottom again of just like, I assume demon or Lucifer or something. Another pop of red, looks fantastic. Another fantastic piece of art coming up. Maybe my favorite piece of art in the book is, I think, coming up next. Yeah. So these are this is Tartarus, which is the most terrible region of hell that a lot of people think is just regular hell, but there's more. It's just the kind of biggest ring. The souls of fire, torment, and suffering. The souls of human sinners go to be burned alive for eternity here. And then there are these things called the spires. Between the warring realms of Tartarus and other unexplored reaches of hell, there are expanses of subterranean wilderness. And these gigantic entities called spires. These pillar-like masses are part building, part organism, and they slowly chew the raw materials of Earth with immense jaws, recycling all matter as this makes its ways to the core. They basically almost look like buttes, but if like there was a bottom layer of just massive fucking teeth. Yeah, they're just fucking pillars of teeth. Yeah, pillars with teeth. So fucking good. Such a great piece of art. And then it goes into the Atlas of Earth, which is basically Earth, like EARTH, but it's been all fucked up. It's so cool, like that it has this. Yeah, it's like very similar. Obviously, it's so far in the future, and there's been a lot of destruction, but you can still make out like the northern and southern like Americas, and then the fucking whole Eastern Hemisphere. It's really super cool. Yeah, it's a full world map with 12 locations on each side. We got the splintered states. We got California, So
City
fucking
Scar
dumb.
York, yeah, Dyson's Craters, Claw Islands. What do we got over here? We got the City Scar Europa, Moon's World, Barrier Islands, Amity Fracture. The City Scars are basically, I guess, where these cities used to be, because there's City Scar
That's what I figured
Europa,
too.
Shinro, Tetsokyo, the Hindi Drift, Skybreakers, the Great Forest, which is the fungal forest. So I love that there is actually like a full world
cool
map. Yeah, looks fantastic. And then there's breakdowns of each section. So California, earthquakes ravaged Earth since the beginning of 4152. The greatest of these was the Sandrian Break. Yeah, which sent a massive landmass into Pacifica. Once separated, this giant island became home to a unique sect of human holdouts and survivors who stand firm to this day. The Dai simply known as the Warriors. I love that there's, again, 24 locations and 24...
and it gives you a good idea. And also, I like this because, you live on Earth right now. And you can imagine locations very easily that aren't on there, especially I live in Dallas. It's a big city. It's got some very big landmarks in it. And I could imagine the City Scar of future Dallas, where it's just like this hellscape mess of a city I'm familiar with. And it'd be really cool to play through Parks of Adventure where you go to areas that you're familiar with, but way in the future when it's ultra destroyed. I really, really like that this takes place on Earth,
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Earth, 8,000 years in the future, but Earth for sure. Yeah. That is the end of the lore section, but they have another kind of War Pigs variant lyrics here. Does this look like a game? This is life and undeath Jugger. I assume that's a name like Juggernaut. The big pigs are on your back, snake eyes, and you're stretching the rack. Wrap a fist round some iron, die for nothing, Jugger. This is it. One last ride to hell. Take a chance, pull an ace, die to tell the tale. Love that.
Fucking super cool. And then we get to the roll the dice section.
Roll the dice, which has got another great piece of art on it with this green and blue pop of this just again, kind of skeletal, super armored, badass looking dude.
Yeah, it's really cool. Before we get into the roll dice section, I think we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Hello, and welcome back to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. We're going to get into Roll the Dice, the basic rules.
Roll the dice, page 22, for those of y'all following along at home. The roll is to play Viking Death Squad, you'll need a set of 6-sided dice. Dice are indicated throughout this book with a capital D. 4D means 4 6-sided dice, and so on. So the assumption is if it says D, it's always a D6. And next says part of this game is describing scenes. You know that part, right? Tells you when to roll dice. When things get dangerous. You have played tabletop games before. When things get dangerous, you roll the dice. Your character stats and skills are modified by gear and conditions. You will determine how many D6s you roll. So it's great. It's amounts of D6s essentially. Test. We're gonna read these. I like these. The GM will roll for how hard an obstacle or task is. Roll with the stat called for meet or beat the GM to succeed. Attack. When you attack a foe, roll with your power or aim stat plus any dice from gear or circumstances. Meet or beat the enemy's speed roll to succeed. And in reaction, when you are attacked or the environment explodes with hazards, you'll roll the stat called for to avoid getting hit, poisoned, or blown to bits. So Ryan, if I'm understanding this correctly, when you're in attack, it's roll versus roll, you versus the enemy, right? The enemy makes a speed roll and you make an attack roll.
That's what it is for the most part for basic attack stuff. Because when you get to the next part, talk about the example test, GMs roll against what you roll.
Okay. There's always roll versus, essentially, kind of.
Basically, but it's not versus the GM, right? So so when you attack, you use a stat and you have to meet or beat the enemy speed roll. Well, no, so it's not. The speed roll happens at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the encounter.
Okay.
So basically, your speed is the same as your initiative.
Okay, cool.
So so you're not rolling every time. Like if you attack a cyborg, right? When the initiative started, everyone rolls for speed to determine the order in which everyone goes. That is the DC for that bad guy the whole time. So your
gotcha.
Basically your AC quote unquote changes with every encounter. Yeah.
Cool.
And so does the bad guys. So you're not, again, when it says attack your foe, you roll aim, but you already know the bad guy's speed because it was the same as their initiative roll, which determined the order.
Very cool. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, example text. All through play, the GM will be rolling to determine your roll target. The GM chooses what to roll based on this simple category. And basically, it's easy, average, difficult, heroic, and amazing. And it's 2D. Well, it's gonna be hard not to say 2D6. 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D, or 6D. So basically, starting at like the GM will roll 2D6 to determine the difficulty of like an easy task, adding 1D6 for progressive difficulty, right? So average difficulty is they're gonna roll 3D6, and you'll have to beat that with whatever your rolls are. Let's say you spot a fissure ahead and want to leap across to escape enemies. The GM will think a moment and choose a difficulty and roll. The chasm isn't very wide. I'll call it D2. Here's my roll, 9. Now you'll be rolling your speed, hoping to meet or beat 9. I also like that they reinforce meet or beat because it makes it really easy to understand. Cool, I have to hit that number or I have to go above it. This loop will happen many, many times during a session. After a few tests and attacks, it will become second nature to GM and players alike. It kind of makes a lot of sense too. Really is like super understandable system. I like the chaotic nature of randomness. So that's really cool.
I really like this because one of the things I don't like about D&D is DCs, right? Like I hate like this arbitrary, just like, it feels like a 12, right? So this, it gives you that, but you also roll for it. So you're basically just picking a range where it could happen in, because as we've talked about many times on this, when you're rolling multiple dice, you get a bell curve. So the odds on a 2d6 is going to be a 7 and 9. So it gives you a really nice average, but random rolls could make it a little bit harder or a little bit easier, because you could technically roll on an average roll. You could roll anything between 3 and 24.
Yeah. Yeah,
so you don't have to determine the set DC. You get to determine just like like it just said, like the easy, average, difficult, or whatever. You can be like, that's probably hard, boom, 4. Like, and you don't have to be like, I feel arbitrarily that this is a 12. The dice will tell you. So I do like it, and I do like it. It's more than just one dice each time, so that it does give you a nice range number, which is cool. And you talked about that later in the GM section too. I still like
rolling dice as the game master. Like I do love a lot of systems where it's like, no, players do like most of the rolling, but it's fun. It's fun to like for this to have some randomness to it. But reactions will occur when hazards or special events are trying to harm you or your allies. React with your speed. Roll with your guts to shake off the cold. Very cool stat names. Monster stats and GM sense of difficulty will determine what you need to meet or beat succeed when reacting, right? It gives us a nice little chart. If we're reacting to explosions or evading fire, it's speed. Poison, cold, or smoke is going to be guts. Mind control or fear is going to be wits. Being knocked back or shoved is going to be powered. Totally makes sense, right? Turns. Yeah, we're moving on to the next page on roll the dice, which is on 23. We're going to turns. You take turns, right? To kill darkness, you'll be playing in turns. A turn is a magical moment when the GM looks your way and it's time to shine. Bring the thunder here. It's really funny how this is written. Also, it's really enjoyable to read. Here are the 3 most common things done by heroes every single turn in any order. That's say some lines, which is just role playing and being a cool badass. Make a roll, whether you're using your training as a code talker to decipher cryptic runes, smashing the metal skull of a Borg, or piloting a hover truck. across the wasteland, you'll be making a roll. And then move in every situation where you are, where you are is critical. Where you are is critical to survive.
Where you are is critical. Yeah.
Well, where you are, man. Listen here, Ryan. You might be standing too close to a magma event, out of reach of a grapple chain, or too far from a cold demon to attack. At any given moment, you can move and make a roll. So you can do, essentially an action and a movement, which I always appreciate. All of VDS, Viking Death Squad, play takes place in turns. Alternating hero, enemy. Your GM will guide things along, calling out each player and making their own rolls. Be ready when your turn comes around. Yeah, hey, don't be that guy at the table who's like,
right? Everyone is.
Oh, yep. Sorry. What were we doing? I missed.
What did they do last? What did everyone do? Describe to me everything that's happened so far.
What enemies are still up right now?
Yeah, fucking hate those people. Pay fucking attention. If you're not invested in playing the game, don't play the fucking game. It drives me insane.
God, yeah.
This is the first page that I found like that typo in. It says your GM will guide things along. But again,
like my brain auto fixed that to just say will.
Yeah. But when you go to page 23 in the book, it is not there. It is fixed in the book. So good job, editors.
Dude, shout out their editors. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, a PDF is a nice thing to have. But here's the thing. I actually don't really give a shit when there's typos in the PDF. The physical book will bother me, though, because I have a physical book. Yeah.
Well, the only thing about that is if this still had to be updated to get into here then. So it'd be nice to get like a 1.5 that had a little bit of the update.
Yeah, totally. But
again, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, movements and distance. There's like 3 distances, and it's arm's length, which is arm's length, melee. There's range, which I think it described as like a bow shot. And then out of reach. Further than you can throw a rock. I just love how things are described, I
love how things are described, but that part doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it totally makes sense. I get what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
But like if ranged is up to a bow shot away and out of reach is a rock throw, I'll tell you right now, I can fire an arrow a lot farther than I can throw a rock.
I mean, do you think a Viking Death Space Marine immortal can throw a rock further than a average human?
I'm just saying a bow, you can fire a bow pretty far. But I get what they're saying. True. But yeah.
And then right below that, on your turn, you can move from one of these areas to another before or after making a roll. Really like that. Totally makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. You can move one distance unit. I love that we don't care about 5 feet per square anymore. I love that we're all moving away from that because fuck do I hate that.
Well, technically though, just as a devil's advocate for that, 5e was written to not be a gridded combat. It's actually supposed to be a theater of the mind, but they give the gridded rules and everyone just uses them.
Oh. We should not use them. I hate gridded combat.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't hate gridded combat. I hate it in 5e.
Yeah, I like this and Merkborg and the games that are just like, you can move across an average sized room. Basically, if it feels like you've gone far enough, your GM will tell you. I love that.
Yeah, you're a human. You've had to walk across a room before. You understand what space is like,
I mean, also, though, it's 6 seconds a turn, so you can hit something and run. But also, the 60-yard dash, like NFL athletes, and you're basically a demigod in 5e anyway, can run 60 yards in 4.5 seconds, we'll say. Okay, 60 yards is 100, 6 times 3? 180 feet? They can run 180 feet in 4 seconds, and you can only run 30 feet and swing a sword? I mean, come on.
Swinging a sword takes a few seconds, though, Yeah,
but I mean, if someone can run 180 feet in 4.5 seconds, and you can't go more than 30... I don't mind him being a little far, and I like this, and I like Merkborg not having to stick to like 25 to 30 feet to just be like, if you're this far away from someone and go, oh, I can't do my whole turn because I'm one little block away. It's like, nah, fuck that, hit him, And I like games that do this.
Yeah. Cool. Then we have another little example right here. Sorry. Smoking all those cigarettes. Kidding. For example, if Olaf needs to dash to the grapple chain to escape, but is out of reach, he uses his first turn to move toward it. Now the chain is in his new range distance. So he uses his next turn to get arms. Yeah, we understand. Okay, cool. Alternatively, heroes can forgo making a roll and use their turn to essentially dash. So two distance ranges. Fantastic. Totally makes sense. Gotta love rules that make sense. And it kind of falls in line with like how games are working these days.
Yes, it's great. Yeah. I like the little piece of art at the bottom too. It's a person running and then dice. So it's literally you can move and roll. That's a turn. Go.
I like how like epic and big every person in this game is. They're just like they really are just like Space Marines, you know. I'm not trying to like call back to that too much because it's not that this feels exactly like 40K, but that is like it's very you're gigantic. Themes. You're a gigantic immortal like in Viking. Like end of times Viking space warrior, you know, like hell yeah. You get to fight fucking Lucifer in this shit, bro. That shit doesn't get any tighter, you know. Armor is life. So most games use most tabletop games use hit points. That is not the case here. If you are hit by a harmful force with no armor to protect you, you are dead. Which makes sense because that's how things work. The blades are sharper, the bullets hotter. Combat in VDS is all about destroying armor, smashing shields, crushing helmets, all for that one lethal shot. A heal in VDS isn't possible, but armor can be repaired, replaced, or even built on the spot with salvage material. Stockpile it, look for it, and pray you keep it intact. On Earth, armor is life. Fantastic. I love that. I really do. You know, we play a lot of games. We talk about a lot of games. And like hit points are always such a weird concept because it's just not how the world works. And in some games, it's fine to suspend your disbelief, but something like gritty and real, it's like, no, if you get hit, you're fucking dead, man. You have to have armor. Like, yeah, totally. Because if it was us in this scenario, we'd have to have heavy armor or we would be dead. It's a hit. VDS battles hinge on hits. Simply use power or aim to overcome a target's speed. So it's either power for physical, aim for range versus your target's speed. Roll with weaponry, and you scored a hit. The victim marks one hit on one piece of armor, and that's how it works. If your target has no armor, the hit kills it. Fantastic. It's dead. If you're thinking, wow, the speed stat is really key to avoid getting hit, you're absolutely correct. In VS, speed serves both as a turn order, which Ryan mentioned earlier, and to hit. So essentially your AC. Very cool. Once battle begins, all combatants roll their speed. This is their to hit value until one side is defeated or retreats. Turns are taken by order of highest speed first, and so on. Yeah. So I really like that. Your AC is not really set. You know, you hope you roll well at the start of combat because it's going to affect all of combat.
But you can get multiple speed dice and stuff like that. So you still, you get like a bell curve range or whatever. But I mean, again, 46 can still roll you a 4.
The dice gods can still be unforgiving, you know, and they absolutely. Trust me, they have been before, you know. Rule of 3: all armor in VDS has 3 hits. It will be smashed to bits after 3 hits. You'll want to stockpile armor, but your total inventory is limited to a total of 10 items, including maximum 4 armor. You travel light. Long story short, don't get hit, which is great. If you can not get hit. Going critical, anytime your roll is 12 or beyond the goal, you've scored a critical success. 12 or more beyond the goal. Okay. So you got to really smash that goal. You're officially awesome. A few cool things will occur. The effect of your roll achieves a maximum narrative effect. Love that. I love when crits are tied to a narrative, like a narrative effect. You know, if attacking, just destroy one piece of armor, just fuck it up. You know, take another turn instantly. Mark 1 bubble on any blood rune. If using a skill, mark off 2 bubbles to improve that skill instead of just 1. Very cool. Gunning for criticals will push you to get as many dice as possible on anything you attempt, the more the better. Critical grants you extra turns, get rid of enemies fast, and keeps things trucking. Time to boost your rolls and pushing skills, etc. Very cool. Yeah, crits are like crits in this. They are not fucking around. And that makes sense.
I mean,
like
also
this,
to get 12 points above someone's speed is like,
that's quite a bit, you know. And I mean, also this game is about this like really epic, over the top, like action, destruction, death, crushing. So rolling dice continued.
a sick piece of art at the top too.
So cool. Yeah, it's like this, you know, obviously this like Viking-esque immortal, like slashing your blade through this robot and this like red streak behind it. Really super cool. I'm gonna take a little sip of coffee. Cold coffee, delicious. All gear in Viking Death Squad has 3 hits. Once the third hit is crossed off, the gear is destroyed. That doesn't mean a gun is only fired 3 times. Normal use does not expend hits. Hits are expended when the gear is damaged or pushed beyond its normal limits. Totally makes sense. Mark off 1 hit when gear is damaged or pushed beyond its normal limits. Pushing your gear is a wide open way to negotiate with the DM for more dice. Love that. Love a way for you to like, I'm gonna rev my my fucking chainsaw gun up to the next level so it hits harder or whatever. Some common examples of like pushing your gear to the next level. You can add a die to the roll, hit more than 1 foe with an attack, throw a melee weapon. Hell yeah. I'm just imagining a hammer or axe just flying out. Reduce the target number of a test, achieve unlikely narrative effects. Love that that's put in there. Attempt to destroy armor instantly without a critical. So very cool. You can potentially like add damage to your weapon, which also only takes 3 of these times before it's destroyed. 3 extra damage and like not like kick combat up a notch. What's up?
I do wish there was like an example of play with this though, because like it's like cool, here's a rule, but like it's so open-ended that like most of the stuff at the bottom is talking about like pushing your weapon as in like having it do more, but it never really addresses when it says like when your gear is damaged. Yeah. You know, because you don't like bad guys don't target like specific gear, they target your armor. So like at what point is your gear damaged? Like if it's just like a narrative thing, like how, you know what I mean? So I wish there was just I wish there was just a tiny bit more here about like the kind of like outlier stuff or an example of play for pushing the gear when like a gun gets damaged or something like that. I love this concept, but like it just seems like such a cool like thing that could be used often, and it's just like
you want like there to be like a negative effect to the gun when it takes damage or something like that?
No, it's just so for example, like we'll have to go look at the weapons and see how many like hits it gets, right? So it says all gear has 3 hits. Right. Yeah. But what damages the weapon? Like if it's not just you pushing, because it says when the gear is damaged or you push it, what damages a weapon? Because again, all hits against you hit your armor. That's the point.
Yeah, but I would say that if it was like a critical, like on the enemy side or something like that effect, it's like they're going to hit your weapon, you know?
They could. Yeah.
Or if you take a really big fall, you know, or get knocked down, or if like rubble falls on you, it's like, yeah, man, that fucking fell on your fucking gun too. Your gun has 1 fucking point of damage now, you know? Yeah.
And I'm saying that's all valid. There's so many little examples of play. Yeah, like there's so many examples of play. Like we're going to get to a page where the entire thing is one giant example of play. Even with dashing, there was an example of play for dashing, but I wish there was just like a little paragraph that just kind of just touched on this a tiny bit just for a little context. Yeah.
Skill or stat. Cool. Yeah, you have skills and stats, y'all. So how do you know what to roll with? Is a big one. Melee attacks, you're gonna use power. Range attacks, you're gonna use aim. Getting info, you're gonna use wits. Acrobatic feats, you're gonna use speed. And special moves, your skills are what make you stand out. Roll skills to perform your special your specific specialities, right? So we have stats, and then you get some skills and some different stuff. Battle order. I feel like it went over battle order already.
It's just a nice wrap up.
Yeah. Like we went over. You guys roll. You're gonna roll your speed, and the roll serves as your to hit for the for the whole encounter, and determines the order. Surprise factors may offer advantages on this roll as well. Totally makes sense. Take turns in order. Take turns in the order of highest to lowest speed. The GM may combine some enemies into a single speed, which I would definitely do because, it's less confusing. And continue this way until battle is resolved. Boosting speed rolls, gaining surprise on an enemy is crucial, as going first can lead to a decisive early victory. A few factors go into how many dice are granted for surprise. Ambush? Motherfucking ambush, bro? If an ambush is a possibility, the group being ambushed rolls its best wits roll against the ambusher's best speed roll. If the wits roll fails, the ambusher gains plus 2d speed. Cool, absolutely. So they get a chance, like if you get ambushed or they get ambushed, they have a chance to save against it. Essentially, if you have enough wits, if your brain's smart enough. Nothing is more important to opening a battle than positioning and situational tactics. Use the table below. And this just gives us like what our bonuses would be for going into combat in a given situation, right? So attacking from concealment, your speed roll is going to be plus 3d, high ground plus 2, fighting from cover plus 1, in pursuit minus 1, and then being pursued minus 2. So if they're already after you and you turn to face combat, you're gonna take a minus 2d speed, which that could be fucking brutal.
Yeah, seriously.
And then we have this other great piece of artwork with this like Viking warrior, probably like mech guy with this massive shield, and then just fucking demons attacking them, because that's a thing that can happen.
Yeah. And it's actually, what I love about this too is this piece of art. First of all, that's fantastic, but it ties into the example of play below. This is a scene from the example of play.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. You want to read the example of play as the GM, and I'll be Scotty,
all the characters
and Alex and JD. Yeah, sure.
Sure. So, okay, Vikings. The cold demons are upon you. Let's roll speeds. The demons have been chasing you across the warlands, so I'll take a dice off this roll and I get a 13.
Scotty, we're all hidden behind these jagged rocks. Guys, throw 3 extra dice on your speed roll here. We got this. Alex, yeah, easy pickings. I've got a 17 here.
GM, your group leaps out at the approaching demons, taking them by surprise. Vikings, the battle is yours. Who's on top?
JD, I've got 19 here, gang. I take point if that's okay. Scotty, go get him. JD, right. Let's open up this pit. Dun, dun. I'll leap at the first demon. I see him bring my iron battle axe down. Rolling power here.
The demons have a 13 to hit. They're jumping side to side like lemurs.
JD, whah! There it is. 26, wham. Are they wearing armor?
Each demon has a black iron helmet with the eyes crossed out.
JD, metal. I smash that helmet to mush. I'll attack again after the crit. 14. That's a kill.
The first demon falls, then turns to cinder. The rest of them, rolls 2d4, that's 5 of them come rushing in.
Scotty, I'll pepper them with the rivet gun. Nice. Arg, only a 12. Miss.
Here, everybody.
Oh, my bad. That's Alex. What was my voice for Alex earlier? They're too close. Get that huge shield out and draw them away. I'm only human. Scotty, I'm on it next turn. Alex, Okay, I'm going to pull back out of their melee range. Is there any scrap or wreckage around?
Roll your find gear skill. This terrain is pretty barren, but there might be some bits lying about.
Alex, boom. 1-6, baby. Rolling on the armor list, 9. An old iron helmet in dust here. I'll pick it up and watch my back.
The demons press in. I've got 5 attacks here. We have 2 hits on JD, and the final one hits Scotty.
Damn, that's a lot. Scotty, damn, that was my last hit on my chest piece. I'm down to 1 piece, y'all. JD, the axe? Crap, a 3? These dice are terrible. Scotty, God, I'm fucking everybody. I'll take Alex's advice. I pull out my great shield and scream at the demons to focus on me.
Awesome. Roll guts to get their attention. For the target, I'll roll 1 die for each demon. That's 5 total. Okay, beat a 17.
Scotty, I'll bang on my shield like a drum. Can I roll Dirge of Battle? Hell yeah. Instead of guts, is that actually a fucking skill? Fuck yes.
Hell yes.
Scotty, boom, 21. And I gain 3 resolve dice, 1 for each of us.
All 5 demons turn their glowing eyes your way.
Alex, okay, before they swarm Scotty, I'd like to spin up my rivet gun. Here goes.
Yeah, so this is such a great example of play. I wish one of them would have pushed their weapon in here, and then I would have been totally fine with the other one. But again, that scene above, is definitely the demons swarming over, Scotty or whatever.
That's pretty fucking cool.
All right. Do you want to keep going with roll the dice, or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll do some more roll the dice, baby. Recovering resolve. Since VDS uses armor instead of hit points to measure your injury and fatigue, there is only 1 stat that drains and refills over time. Resolve. You regain all spent resolve dice when you rest in a safe place for an hour or more. And you'll learn more about resolve here soon in character creation. Guys, I'm dead again. Once your armor is destroyed, you're 1 hit from the grave. If you're a human, that's the end. Create a new character and return to fray. However, if you are an immortal, your ancient blood has been made mighty by centuries. You have 3 lives to give for a fight. Fuck, that's way more. After your 3rd death, the old strength fails, and there's 1 less immortal within the cosmos. 1 less immortal walks the cosmos. If killed as an immortal, you will revive once your allies have found rest and safety for 1 hour. If you're a human, you get 1, and if you're an immortal, you get 3. That's say 10 only. 10 only. There were once thousands of grave ships above Earth, filled with countless immortals in cryostasis and augmentation tanks. If the immortal fell in battle, they were promptly replaced via orbital drop. But now the grave ships are dark and destroyed. The immortals hardly deserve their names without the grave ships, and the rebellion must face one terrible truth. 10 have risen, and 10 only. This story element gives us the final core rule of your VDS game. All VDS campaigns are granted no more than 10 immortals to defeat the war pigs. If 10 are lost, the campaign ends. Brutal. Without at least 1 immortal to fight the infinitum, the humans' cause is lost. Hell or the war pigs will ravage Earth, and light will be extinguished forever. This is a departure from many RPGs, which give the player unlimited resources to complete long-running games. Not here, motherfucker. If 10 immortals fall, story's over. And then it goes on to say it might take a long time to do, or it might take no fucking time at all. Especially because everything here is dice-based and it's all completely random.
Yeah, I dig that a lot. I really enjoy that, especially when you're writing out a campaign. You kind of have to keep an eye on like where you want it to go, kind of as you get towards the end, because it's either that or you know that like 9 are dead, and you're gonna get to you're just gonna be like, okay, well let's do the final decisive battle, and if one of you dies, that's it. So
yeah,
but that means you literally get
good luck.
Yeah, you get 30 immortal lives to defeat this thing you've been battling for 8,000 years. So good luck, fuckers.
You want to take over for a bit?
Sure. Roll the dice. Here is all of the other stuff. Viking Death Squad isn't just one long battle sprawling all over Earth. It isn't just combat, weapons, and armor. Like all great tabletops, it strives to be a unique story. Most of the rules cover combat, such as passing tests and stuff like that, but there is a lot of other stuff. A large part of the tabletop hobby that can never be fully described when players work together to just freely create their world, their stakes, their promises, cement their characters with epic dialogue and telling tales. There's no set way, but you can jump ahead into character creation to make unique heroes. There's a section of all the GM stuff, which is... there's actually a whole GM section later. So this is just a little bit of the stuff early for that. And it talks about, it says a lot of it is in the GM's Pentacle section. There's the deep world lore and tone elements and other goodies that await there. Before you jump ahead, renew the Viking Death Squad pillars in your imagination. Their heroes are mighty immortals that fight back against Warpig and keep Lucifer's hordes at bay. There's a world of iron and skulls, of lightless megaliths and black stone, of relics and fire. It is a lantern-lit world. Always include heavy guitar riffs and impossible bass jumping. Tell the tale with guts. I do like this rule here, right? It is the number of the beast rule. On any roll during a session, if 3 and no more than 3 6s appear, the roll counts as a critical success, and the character refills their resolve dice. Players are invited to recite the number of the beast by Iron Maiden. At that moment, the GM should consider a way to bring Lucifer's dark influence on the moment, attack, roll, or scene in some way, even if it's simply an omnipresent, sinister laugh.
That is so fucking cool. I cannot express to you how fucking cool that is.
I would honestly just have like a creepy Lucifer laugh just queued up on something, and anytime someone rolls 3d6s, I'd just be like, nah, ha, ha, dope.
Wow, I really love that. I really do. Like, that's such a, it's so cool.
It's so good. And what's cool too is if we go back to the beginning of the section where it talks about, is it this one or is it the previous one? I think it's actually the previous one, maybe the very beginning one in the beginning of the book, the Warpig song. Only hell remains defying as the moon and stars are dying. Once 10,000, only 10. Lucifer to bring the end. That is the whole, like, there's only 10 immortals that rose section right there. It's cool that these lyrics that they wrote are part of that. So we're actually hopping into character creation now, and there is another set of lyrics. Blood injustice, red hot rivets and ribs on fire, screaming skulls ride in, war pigs, faces dire. When man's hope was lost and the pig's supremacy nigh, all hell was emptied, lo, watch all mankind die.
And the guitar just drops in right there, just like...
So good. Crucible of Heroes, this is the character creation section. In the front of this... Oh yeah, you get this immortal Viking in like power armor or whatever, and then to either side you get what could be a robot warrior, and then a human mechanic like female on the side. Again, I love this all black, white, and gray with just a pop of color, maybe 2 on every page. It's so nice. So we are getting into Crucible of Heroes. This is the character creation section. So now that you have a sense of this dark, deadly world, be sure to read the beginning. Get your bearings and get ready to play. Get your character concept clear to start. You want to think visually. Start your character concept with an image of your hero. This can be absolutely anything to get your creative juices flowing. Choose from the character art built into VDS, your favorite miniature, find art online in movies or books that you love, or an image in your mind, and start there. Next is teamwork. You'll be facing doom and danger with your fellow players, so make sure that you create a character that's going to work well with each other. So all you fucking douchebag warlocks out there, play nice with others. Listen, I love playing warlocks.
I do too. I just don't make it other people's problem,
Right? Exactly. And rogues that feel like stealing from their party more than doing anything else. Come on, guys. Come on.
I also love being a rogue, but I also don't make it the party's problem.
There you go. Give it a twist. Now for the prestige. With ever clearer picture of who your character is, you can add something interesting, like a fatal flaw, hidden secret, weird quirk, unique voice. Work with your GM to weave your character's twist into the overall story. and make it memorable. Especially if you're a human, you're gonna die, and even if you're immortal, you're gonna die a bunch of times. So make each character fun and unique, and make your next character different, which would be cool. So this is the step-by-step breakdown of building a character. First, you assign your stats. All heroes have 6 core stats, and you can boost a few innate abilities to match your concept and type. You're going to choose your type, basically what you want to play, human or immortal. Humans are less durable, but highly skilled and handy with technology. Immortals are highly durable giants who die hard and go big. Take a look at both, think of your concept, and pick what you think is best. Write down your background. VDS, your character's background is 3 brief notes. An oath, which is the thing you must do. A debt, which is a person or organization you must repay. And a code, a thing you will never do no matter how bad things get. I like that it's super clean, but those are very overarching core things that you can have. And then you can choose your skills, which is finally choosing your set of abilities. I said finally, but I did not mean that. Number 5 is choose your gear. As we talked about earlier, all gear has 3 hits, all armor has 3 hits, and armor is life. So choose wisely and make it fit your concept. I like that a lot of this.
It says finally, and then there's one more after that.
Is that why I said finally? Because it was written?
Yeah. You read
number 4 does say finally. I wonder if that is in the book. What page are we on? 32. Let's see if they say finally there. Yep, they do. I do like that this whole page here it keeps reiterating, think of a concept, make things that are based on your concept. I mean, a lot of this, of course, is going to be power gamey, but the point is you're going to die, make a cool, unique character each time.
Yeah, like your character.
Yeah, I like that. There are the classic roles. I know we talked about this last time when we were talking about Nova, the classic roles in combat, and obviously, Hanker and Fairnail has played a bunch of older games. So you get your Defender, which is your tank. They're heavily armored war horses. You get your Slayer, which is your damage output. Some call it a Striker. The Slayer type makes sure enemies are not sticking around long. They choose their skills and gear specifically to be fast, never miss, and keep attacking. You get your Support or your Healer, and you are the hero of the group. Everyone needs restoration to survive their toughest encounters. There's no healing in VDS, so support character focuses on supplying armor or buffing their teammates. You get the, so that's 1, 2, 3. You get your Scout or the Controller. Controller uses mobility and ranged weapons to access more of the field and accomplish key strategic goals. And then you get this 5th one that they call the Nuke or your Utility Person. There's an old joke in tabletop about just solve it with a fireball. This type of character is that fireball. Basically, this is a wild card, capable of massive damage output, but a bit volatile. It's best filled with a character that has mysterious spell stones. Spell stones are destroyed to activate mystical effects. Nuke characters are sometimes cryptic, otherworldly types who speak in riddles and know many dark secrets. So in this edgelord game, this is your edgelord.
This is the edgelord of the edgelord game. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly would definitely play as a human nuke utility. Some crazy old person who saw into hell,
Right? I love all the classics. I don't ever know which one I would pick. I think Controller is really, really fun. Controller and Striker
is usually one that I'm very partial to.
Yeah, I really like Controller and Striker. Those are, again, and because your Defender and your Healer are very, I don't want to say a reactionary, when your Controller and your Striker are kind of more proactive, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I totally see that.
And then Crucible of Heroes, your core stats, innate abilities. All heroes have 6 core stats, each represent your innate talents. You start with a 1D minimum, 1d6. And for more about rolling stats, just only one most of the time. Head back to page 22 for a refresher. So your minimum stat. You can buy more.
Most of the time, it's what the...
Hey, there is a disease, and I think the world record is 7 active functioning penises. Don't remember what it's called, though. Minimum, everyone starts with 1D on their base stats. It's a minimum ability, so if you place 2D into a stat, you'll have 3D and so on. So you just start with the 1D. Okay. If you're skilled, you have 2D. If you're an expert, you have 3D. And if you're master, you have 4D. It goes from athletes to heroes to legends, basically. So you know that it sounds like that's about it. Maybe you can only max out at 4. Well, let's look at the character sheet. These are, of course, beings on Earth and beyond with abilities beyond... Beings on Earth and beyond with abilities beyond Master. 5 and 6 dice rolls will occur during play for heroes, and against them be ready. Here are the 6 core stats. Most of their users are explained here. When you create a character, you have 4 dice to distribute into any of the 6 stats in any array you choose. All start with 1d. So again, 6 stats. You have power, which is your roll to hit with melee weapons and fists. You got your aim, which is your ranged weapons and throwing stuff, or operating ship weaponry. You got speed, which is how you gain surprise or evade stuff, and it's also your to hit value and your basically your initiative roll. You have your wit, which is discerning information, scouting distances, finding clues. You have guts, which is resistance to poison, the elements, and shock, fear, all that stuff. And resolve, which is your special stat. It is a pool of dice you can use on any roll at any time as a boost. Then when you rest in safety for an hour or more, the resolve pool refills. You can also earn resolve dice with skills or as GM award for cool play. So it's kind of a super cool. Yeah, it's a catch-all. The other thing though with resolve, I feel like it kind of gets rid of that whole like pushing the roll thing kind of. You can just use your resolve. But how does resolve tie into pushing the roll? You can just say like, I'm going to push my roll.
You could do both.
I guess that's what I'm saying. You could do both.
You roll fucking five dicks, 5 Ds.
Yeah. 5 Ds. 5 Ds. And 5 Ds nuts. And yeah. So rolling oh god, we're off the rails. Rolling a hero. Some players prefer to let the gods decide what their innate abilities may be. This method asks the cosmos who is the character. The answer comes in the 6 stats. To roll for stats, simply roll a d6. Count down the line of stats as listed and mark a die on that stat. Roll again, repeat until 4 dice have been marked. Rolling can also be used when a blood rune is earned by rolling a d12. Check out page 56. We'll get there. So if you want to, you can pick your character concept, and that's what I think the game encourages you to do, that is to pick your character. But if you are one of those people that's just like, fuck it, I'm going to roll up my stats first and then make a character based on that. Basically, you just roll 1d6 4 times, and whatever it lands on, you just add a d6 to that stat, which is interesting. I mean, I would still pick my own.
I occasionally like rolling for stuff. I like the randomness, especially in a game where it's just like, yeah, they're gonna die. It's like, all right, fuck it, man. They're gonna fucking die. So
yeah, I mean, if you're on your like 3rd immortal or 8th human, you can just
maybe I care more then, but
yeah. VDS does not use levels or experience points to progress its characters. Instead, you will steadily grow in resolve and skill over time. For each session completed, all characters gain 1 D resolve, and resolve is refilled. This is a permanent upgrade. That's cool. I like that. I like that every session you just get an advancement.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. There's a lot of that kind of like structured by play. Into the Odd has another really good one where it's just like, after your first like expedition, you level up immediately, like you level up, and then after your 3rd expedition, like I like when it's very cut and dry. It's like, you did a thing, you guys went through an encounter or whatever, and you got a thing for it, and you're slightly stronger. Cool, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely like XP and stuff has its place. Like I like when we ran Victory Basic, like, but your XP, like you buy levels and you buy upgrades basically. So your treasure, which is built into the levels, like that. That was fun. A cool way to do it. Yeah, I don't like I hate 5e's way of like, this creature is worth this amount of points, but you split it amongst all of your party, and you have to get 50,000 before you go from level 10 to level 11. Like it's just, I didn't like that.
Fuck me,
dude. I have to keep milestone leveling. Yeah, no. When I finish an arc, boom, you get a level. So I like that it's kind of written into this, and each time you play a session, you basically get a little bit stronger, which is cool, and especially with the whole concept of you only get like 10 immortals. But that means if there's no cap on it, man, you could end up with like 50 resolve, and I would just be fucking just resolving every fucking dice roll. But you're still gonna die. But,
I think the thing is like you just might not even live. You're not gonna live that long. It's
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's no cap because it's just like, whatever, bro, you're gonna fucking die. Like you're gonna die in this game.
Exactly. Skills are increased through practice. Each time you use a skill and play with a successful roll, mark a bubble on that skill. After 5 successful uses of any one skill, you gain 1d. This 1d can be added to the skill used or placed in a brand new skill. Once the die is gained, clear the uses and start again, and we can read more about that in like 5 pages. So we're looking at hero types. There's humans. Humans are the specialists. Humans still survive on Earth, and in the rings, they're either enslaved or fighting against the infinitum war effort. Humans can only use armor and tech. Humans can use some armor and tech, but only have 1 life to give to the cause. To make it this far, they must be highly skilled. So you start with 1d6 aim, 1d6 speed. You choose 1 special skill, which is Cunning Learner or Go Unnoticed, which is if a skill is used on your view, roll wits against a GM target on your turn to acquire 1d of that skill instantly. Oh, within your view is what I assume it would say. Basically, if someone uses a skill, you can roll to acquire that skill. That's cool.
That
basically, you
really cool.
Yeah, you can basically watch them do something and be like, I got that. Or Go Unnoticed. Use your speed roll on your turn. Roll a 4, 5, or 6 to avoid detection for 1d4 rounds. I like that. That's cool. You get 6d split amongst 1 to 3 skills. Your gear is
16.
4 basic, 2 armor, and cannot use heavy. That's cool.
Makes sense.
Human roles. Yeah, you got the hijacker, the grave robber, the exorcist, the assassin, the smuggler, the jet biker, the junker, or the excavator. I'm not going to go too deep into these because fuck, there's a lot, and it's already 10-10. But a lot of cool stuff. Hijacker gives you a bonus to piloting. Grave robber gives you a bonus to combat repair and armor. Exorcist gives you a bonus. It's called Zealot, which I assume is a skill, and you get plus 2d for that. Right. An exorcist has faith and expertise to cast out true evil. Yeah, that's fun. Assassin, you get a bonus to sharp shot. Smuggler, you get a bonus to underworld and pilot. Jet bikers get a bonus to pilot, and you get a jet bike, which is cool. And again, there's a lot of art pieces in this too. You get to see an art
how
piece.
Cool that jet bike is too.
Yeah, it's dope, super dope. The junker, there's no shortage of junk and wreckage on Earth. You get a bonus to 2 armor and 2 basic. An excavator gives you hell lore and Earth history. That's cool. Basically, you've been around mystery tech and scholarly work for so long, you get that. And then we move on to cool. Right. So basically, you get to be basically human or immortal, and you get 8 roles that you could basically be. So basically 8 classes within each type. So the 16 options you can pick before you even pick your skills and stuff like that. So it's a lot.
God, that's
it's
lot.
Great though. Yeah. So the next hero type is Immortal, the Relics. Immortals are legendary Viking warriors. We've talked about this before. They've been made powerful over centuries by augmentation, cryostasis training, and backup copies called coffins. Immortals can die 3 times. On the first 2 deaths, revive once your body is in safety with allies for an hour. So we talked about this. You get 1d power plus 1d guts. You get 2 special skills. Sunder Expert. You get to pick one of these 2. If you score a hit, you can choose to apply it to enemy gear or armor. Ooh, there we go. Okay, now we found damage to gear.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can aim to shoot the guns. Or durable, take no damage from any collateral source, including falling, crushing, shrapnel, heat, cold, or friendly fire. That's cool. You only take enemy damage. I would probably choose Sunder Expert though, and fucking aim at people's guns and shit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Skills, you only get 4 split amongst 1 to 2 skills, and your gear is 2 basic, 4 armor, and you cannot use circuit. So 1 through 8, you get Viking Warrior, Shield Maiden, Visigoth, Rune Cutter, Mariner, Dead Talker, Berserker, and Trickster. Love these, and they feel so Viking. Like they feel so.
Yeah, they feel so Viking. Yeah, Visigoth. It's like literally.
So you get the base Viking Warrior. You were born and met your end at the age of waves and iron conquest a millennia ago, and you're back after suffering torture and cryosleep. You get Defender, the bonus skill Defender, and a plus 2d. Shield Maiden. In the elder days, the master of shield warfare were mighty Viking women. Their prowess in battle earned them immortality in the grave ships above Earth. You get the bonus skill Shield Master plus 2D. The Visigoth, long before the world became civilized, you were called Barbarian. You were a face painter, forest walker. You get the bonus skill Fearless plus 2D. Great piece of badass
I love the Dead
Viking.
Talker.
Yeah, great badass art here on the side.
Yeah, that art is so cool. Art is really cool.
Very, yeah, it's a Viking warrior again with like the yellow pop with some like red circuitry in it. So cool. The Rune Cutter. You were the Mystic. The Infinitum augmented you with these knowledge of hidden truths and forgotten history. You get runes, which you've talked about a bunch, the blood runes. Mariner, you were the master of ships. You get pilot and mechanics. The Dead Talker, in your time you were called a heretic, madman, friend to corpses. In the age of the infinitum, there's no shortage of death. Your unique skill is suddenly an inestimable value. You walk half in this world, half in the next. The dead speak to you and you to them. You and your allies have much to gain from all they whisper. Your skill is skeletons and skull slave. Yeah, Dead Talker's badass.
Yeah,
I would hardcore be a Dead
that one's
Talker.
very cool.
Yeah. Berserker, you were a child of Rollo, of Ragnar, of Ivar the Boneless. You are wild and uncontrollable. You get the bonus skill Whirlwind. Trickster, even in savage times, life is worthless without laughter. Deception is just one role you play. You get bonus skills Illusion, and you can exchange any starter gear or armor for a spell stone. We did talk about spell stone, and we'll talk about those.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So skills, lots of skills here. With a little creativity, luck, and a will to prevail, you can exploit your skills to bend the odds in your favor. After 5 successful uses of any one skill, we talked about this earlier, you gain 1d. This 1d can be added to the skill you used or placed in a brand new skill. And once a die is gained, you wipe it out and start again. I really like that. Doesn't Troika do something kind of similar in that you have to, do you fail skills in Troika to get better at the skill? I can't remember what it is.
Remember.
We'll have to go watch our old episode on Troika.
Of reviewing Troika.
Two episodes.
Two episodes of Troika.
Yeah. Acquire, it was a dense book. I went through it pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, it is kind of. So a lot going on.
Acquire additional skills in 1 to 3 ways. After 5 successes, you can meet a teacher or mentor and play. And this mentor grants you dice and a new skill. Nice. Basically, the GM can say if you meet them, you can ask for that, and it can grant you. This method may grant more than 1d in the new skill. That's cool.
That's really cool.
And just discovering a manual scroll data unit or whatever, this method may grant you more than 1 skill. So 3 cool ways to add stuff. I really like that. Again, especially for humans, the skills are so important because you're gonna die. You need to be as skilled as possible to avoid that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm not going to read through every skill. If there's some you really like, we can look at it. Armor, Splitter. We can actually look at some of the ones that were mentioned above, actually. Let's look at like Skeleton, Skull Slave, and stuff like that.
Dirge of Battle,
Yeah. There's Armor Smith. There's Chains. Chains is really cool. And actually, that's what this picture is. There's this, what looks like a cyborg all wrapped up in chains that takes up like half the page. And it says, you are a master of the rare and difficult art of using heavy chains. Roll the skill, and for each 4, 5, or 6 rolled, you accomplish either you inflict 1 hit, grapple a foe holding them, or catch an anchor point at range to pull or climb. That's cool.
Nice.
Combat
Super
repair,
cool.
crushing death, dark arts. After using a spell stone, roll at least 1/6. The spell stone expends no uses. That's cool. Defender. Oh, here's Dirge of Battle. You have refined your ability to drum and call out battle cries. When you unleash your song of death with this roll, gain 1d resolve for each 4, 5, or 6 rolled. Distribute these dice among your allies in any array. That's awesome. That's how the guy in the example of play got back 3 resolve. Yeah, that's cool.
It's fucking super Viking shit,
Oh yeah, I love that. Dual attack. It's dual weapon fighting. Fearless was mentioned above. You are driven by pure commitment. Each time you hit, roll the skill, and for each 4, 5, or 6, recover 1 resolve. Also, you only fail rolls involving fear by rolling 6 or more under the goal. That's cool. Fine gear, gunslinger, hell lore. You're an expert on the long storied history of hell. Use the skill to identify ruins, trace factions, decode runes, or navigate hellscape on any 4, 5, or 6. illusions. A great piece of art here on what looks like a badass Viking warrior in their power armor with a huge lance on what looks to be a dead horse.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like this skeletal, robotic. It's hard to tell a lot of stuff if it's skeleton or robotic or both, you know? But yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both a lot.
It's a little bit of both
a lot. Yeah. Infinitum lore, mechanics, Pale Rider. Many use strength or luck when riding beasts, not you. Roll this skill to control a mount. That's cool. Pilot, they talked about a lot. You have nerves of steel. You are a nerves of steel lunatic behind a set of controls. Use the skills to execute maneuvers or file vehicular weapons at least 1, 4, 5, or 6 rolled. Love that. So clearly we've talked about this a bunch, but never really talked about it. It's a dice pool game, and you want to get as high as possible, but with your skills, it seems like you just want to get the higher side of the dice. And I think we talked about this with Nova a little bit. If you have more than like 3 dice in something, it's almost impossible to not get like a 4 or 5 or 6 at least one of them.
Yeah.
But I like that this often does for every 4, 5, or 6 rolled. So it's not like a failure if you get less than like a 4, 5, or 6, but if you get a bunch of 4, 5s, and 6s, you get more weapon shots and stuff like that. And I think that's really, really cool, really clean way to do it. It's just well done. Like it's done. I know all these skills are really good too. Poison, forest biology, runes, scout, sharp shot, shield master. Oh, skeletons. You have an ability to use necrotic magic. Roll this skill once per encounter. For each 4, 5, or 6 rolled, raise 1 ragged skeleton from the ground to do your bidding. Each has an iron sword and no armor. The skeletons act on your turn with 2d rolls. Nice.
Yeah. Good little force to throw at people that might get killed instantly, but whatever, it's going to absorb some hits, maybe
exactly.
Do some damage.
Absorb hit, do a little damage, and there you go. But you only get it once, but you also get other stuff. Sneak attack, earth history. Did we miss skulls?
Skulls.
I thought the one had skulls. I missed that.
Which one?
The one that you liked.
No, that was skeletons.
There was nothing about skulls, too?
Was there something? I don't know. I'm
Skull Slave. Oh, that's a gear. Gear is Skull Slave. Okay.
Yeah, skills are really cool in this, man. There's a lot of really cool stuff,
last bit. War Pig database, weapon specialist, whirlwind, X Factor, and zealot. Oh, you are anathema to demons, hellions, the undying, and true evil. At the start of an encounter, roll this skill for each 4, 5, or 6 rolled. Force such an enemy to ignore its best die rolled at any time. Sick.
Wow. That could really fucking save you at some point,
Hardcore. Going into backgrounds. The path to now. Now that you have a mental picture of your heroes that stand out, you're ready to create a brief backstory. There's no right or wrong to this, and it goes into a couple of things. You are part of a team. Don't forget that. You have powerful motivations. The challenges ahead will not be easy. Consider why you're fighting. Off to see the wizard. All hero characters stand out from their kin by a moment they choose to leave their lives and take the road to adventure. What's changing in your character's life? Take an oath. No one makes it this far without rock solid convictions. And it gives a list of human oaths. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why don't you roll me a D10? We haven't rolled on this at all today.
We haven't rolled. I was just thinking that actually. I'll roll you a D10. 10.
Well, there's only 9, so roll again.
You're a dude. I'm gonna roll a D8, and we're gonna ignore one of them. 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So save human souls from the evil of this world. That is a human oath. And then roll another D8 for an immortal oath.
I will. It's a 3.
Destroy the war pigs entirely.
Hell
roll one more on that because these are cool.
It is a 5.
Avenge your fallen kin.
Here's my fallen brother.
There you go. Crucible of Heroes, pay the piper. So again, we talked about this earlier. You take an oath. you do a debt, and you have a code, and that's what we're going through here. Basically, there's like a list of things, but you can do other things. So your human debts are things like you owe an exorcist your life, maybe even your soul. Immortal debts are like a human broke you free from your cryo chamber, and you have sworn to repay a life debt. That's
nice.
dope.
Hell
and
yeah.
then the last part is codes. You 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Roll me a d6 minus 1.
I rolled a 1. I mean, I did minus the 1 because I rolled a 1. So
there you go. You will never ally with hell. You will never kill another human, because don't forget, codes are things you will never do. And then roll a d8 for the immortal code.
It's 6.
2, 3, 4, 5. You will never adopt the soft-hearted ways of civilization.
No, I'm a warrior. I have to stay true to my warrior blood, brother.
You get that berserker, or which one? The Visigoth. That was like the painted forest warrior.
Barbarians.
Yeah. Optional rolling for oath stats and codes. If the elements and character backgrounds are especially intriguing for your table, you can give them more teeth in play by rolling for their arrival and effect. At the end of a session, players takes turns rolling 3D. Those 3D correspond to oath, debt, and code respectively. Yep. If any die appears as a 1, this process stops. A player's oath, debt, or code will come to light or be a crucial part of a session to come. That's all right, but there's not 6 in every one.
Yeah, there's not.
So, I mean, I guess you could try to make that work. Going into gear, we can push through some of this stuff again. You get gear. There's a 1d20 starter gear roll that you are given. If you have a critical piece of gear from your character concept, just ask your DM to allow it. That's perfect. Like if you make something that's like, but this would be perfect if I can take it. And again, we talked about this before. All gear has 3 hits. You can only carry 10 pieces, and you can only have a maximum of 4 pieces of armor. Smaller inventory does not occupy space. I like that. I like when you can, or even like bundle stuff. I like that. More about pushing. Thank goodness. I must have. Yeah. So as you browse gear lists, you'll notice details on some gear about pushing capabilities. These are easy to follow as listed, but pushing is a tool you can use on all your gear to an epic effect if you're willing to damage or even destroy it. The list at the right is by no means exhaustive, but pushing is a system to be more improvised in the moment. Anytime you're going to be creative or use an uncharted push effect, just talk to your GM. So, push, I skipped the armor section, we'll go to that in a second. Push for 1 hit, you add 1d onto the roll, hit d4 foes of the single attack, earn a bonus attack even on a miss. Okay. Push for 2 hits, you inflict 2 hits with 1 attack, overcome cover or distance limitations, or up to 4 foes with a single attack, and push for all 3 hits, get a guaranteed success roll, destroy a piece of enemy gear with no roll, kill up to 4 unarmored foes with no roll, reduce the enemy reaction by 2d, or create large-scale explosions or other creative effects. Yeah, kill up to 4 unarmored foes.
But kill up to 4 unarmored foes.
Yeah,
it's like,
but basically, but if you push for all 3 hits, like whatever you're using is gone.
It's gone, yeah.
So you're basically sacking your gun to just wipe out 4 unarmored foes. Armor, you can only pile on so much steel. You can only have 4 pieces at a time. Best piece of armor takes a beating first, and donning a single piece of replacement armor takes 1 full turn. Armor cannot be worn in duplicate, i.e. 2 helmets, except shields. If you're using 2 shields at once, you cannot use any other handheld gear. For characters in a heavy file stock, yeah, you could literally, I guess you could have one and carry one, especially as a defender, and just be like, fuck it, I drop my gun, pull out my second shield, and then just fucking shield wall the whole party.
My question is, can you bash somebody with a shield?
I guess we'll look at the gear thing and see if there's like a to hit thing. Materials, there's a hierarchy of materials. Iron is the highest. High-tech alloys are brittle, but the heavy malleable durability of iron outlasts them all. There's insect materials. The giant insects of the poison forest yield numerous chitinous or bio-hardened material for all kinds of use. I love that. Mandibles as daggers, insect heads as helmets. Circuit, human ingenuity has derived a material type from conductive metals and fabric. It does not fully understand how, but circuit items gather, shape, or focus massive amounts of ambient energy. Shadow, which comes from the depths of Tartarus. It's incredibly rare, and it's incorporeal smoke-like matter and relic. That is what the war pigs use. It remains unknown where the relics came from. This material is stone-like, but with small glowing nodes of light, motes of internal power, and in wildest cases, kind of rudimentary intelligence.
Very cool.
Yeah. It talks about solid state, which basically says that, I guess outside of the circuit technology, all complex moving parts, digital components, or precise workings were destroyed. So all that's left is like solid state, super durable materials like iron and stuff like that. So basically it's basic machines that's fueled by something. Guns are in the conventional sense. Even chemicals like jet fuel or explosives are replaced with solid materials. Guns are gone in the conventional sense. For example, a rivet gun is a mysterious stone box that spits red-hot rivets. How it works? Who knows? I love that. Who gives a shit? You're fucking undead Viking.
I don't fucking know how it works.
Who cares? So we get into a gear list. Why don't you go ahead and roll me... There's 40... It's 2 through 40, so why don't you roll me 2 d20s? We'll do this once or twice.
I rolled a 20.
20. Snare kit. Inertia packed razor vines slow approaching foes by 1 round. Love that. Roll another one.
27.
27. Oh, Skull Slave. Right. An undead head will do as commanded. Has a helmet, which means it's got 1 armor, which is dope.
It's just a head though.
Yeah. So all of the, it looks like most of the weapons right at the beginning. A great sword. It's melee. It's a 2-handed blade and inflicts 2 hits on any 12+ roll. That's nice. Dope.
That is really good.
So I mean, technically you can it sounds like you can still hit with less than a 12, but you get double on the 12+, which is great. Because it says at the top, roll 2d20 destroyed after 3 hits unless noted. Unless noted. Let's find one that's destroyed. Do you see one that's destroyed that's noted for more or less?
No.
Oh, the Rip Sword or RIP Sword is melee heavy on a hit, inflict extra hit on an additional gear piece. That's cool.
Gotcha.
Iborg Missile Crate. And on the next page is just, I almost wish, I mean, I'm sure you can kind of like pick them out if you read through, but I kind of wish they were numbered. Is an entire page of weapons and armor. And the art is so cool on these.
Yeah,
I love
really
the style of art. I love the style of art.
Just a real quick, other one that I really liked from that last list was 23 Mind Frame, an intelligent fragment of rock, plus 1d to any wits roll by you or an ally.
That's awesome.
Just smart rock.
Smart rock. He's got pet rock, and it's smart. I think you can roll some more. Armorless. Why don't you roll me 2d20 on some armor?
24.
24. Iron razor glove. Yeah. It is an other. Melee attackers suffer 1 hit when destroying armor. Love that.
Nice.
It's like a battle rager dwarf, and like they just have the razor spikes all over.
Spiky armor, it's like the guy from Dark Souls.
Yeah. Roll up another one.
Not Elden Ring, Dark Souls.
There's nothing wrong with Elden Ring.
I'm not saying there is, but there's no guy with spiky armor that hurts you in Elden Ring so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right. Roll another one for me.
21. I'm rolling halves right now,
Steady glove. You got gloves. You got all sorts of gloves. A gyro stabilized gunner glove. You add 1d to the aim. That's dope.
I want you to know that last roll, I literally rolled 120 and a 1. So I both crit and crit failed.
Jesus, there's so much gear here.
Much gear.
Because we're talking about, the next part is the advanced gear list. You get things like the electro rifle or the demon cloak.
God damn.
You get spell stones list. We talked about this a bunch. They have 3 uses until they crumble. There's a spell stone for drag to hell. If in view of a hellhole, cast on a single foe and they're dragged in on the next round. Love that. I love that this is the way the armor works, or the magic works.
Yeah.
There's no wizards, kind of. I mean, you can pick a character class like it. Loki's Pebble, create illusory images with basic realism. It's so cool. And then there's an entire page of hell gear. A brick parasite latches onto a victim, inflicting them with minus 3d speed. Lucifer's Truth. Read this book with a wits roll to learn a secret of hell. There's an EDC.
Child of Azathoth, hideous statue. All who see reduce 1d wits until hidden.
So
It's
cool.
like, Jesus, why?
Ooh, there's a triple pack here. Adimu's Blood, which is acid and inflicts an extra hit for d4 rounds. Adimu's Eye, which is a beam weapon. And Adimu's Hand, which is a severed hand, and you roll speed to steal 1 gear from a target. I love that's so cool. And then we get to blood runes, which we've talked about a bunch. Do you want to read blood runes?
Yeah, every time you score a critical hit, mark 1 bubble on a blood rune slot on your character sheet. 3 such marks earn you the rune of your choice, a permanent upgrade for your hero. Earn a maximum of 4 runes. If you unlock a blood rune during combat or in the midst of danger, gain the benefit of the rune only once you have reached rest and safety. Even in the mortal need to take a moment to etch this powerful glyph into its proper place. So you really gain knowledge of runes. You want to roll a d12?
Sure.
Roll it twice, and we'll read 2 different ones.
Roll a dice. 12-sided. I'll just roll 2. First is I'm gonna roll that again. A 9.
A 9. Ewaz, endurance. If human gains 3 deaths, bro. If immortal, erase all previous deaths.
These are dope. My other one was 1.
Another one was 1. Urits, strength. Upgrade your power stat by 1d. These are pretty cool. You know, they're all I like Therazaz, Storms 12, Lightning Blast. As an attack, you can inflict d4 hits on a foe with a wits roll.
These are so cool. I like that you have to get 3 crits before you even get one of these.
Yes.
But I also like that clearly the blood runes and the spellstones are how magic works, and I love how it still feels Viking.
Viking as fuck.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Super. They give us
some pre-gen characters on the next one.
Yeah, we don't need to go over.
Very cool. I mean, they're here if you want them. If you want to know what the character looks like being already built. And then there's another wicked piece of art.
The dogs of Liedgrav. Yeah, it's like a broken like just scape, but what looks like what would probably be hellholes like through the breaks, but with these kind of crossed like graves above it. But what is the Dogs of Liedgrav? Is it a despite their best efforts, the people of settlement of it's a setting area. They're plagued by ever-increasing packs of dogs. The Dogs of Liedgrav is a good way to familiarize yourself with gameplay in Viking Death Squad. Play with a few friends. So this is it looks like it is. This is basically an adventure right here at the beginning. It gives you the landfall. It gives you the setting area. It gives you the wreck. It gives you characters. It gives you maps and everything, which is fantastic. It's kind of interesting that they just put like a scenario like right in the middle of it, including like the bad guys, like a beautiful piece of art. Super cool.
God, this fucking guy with the 2 axes. This guy with the 2 fucking axes.
Good. Yeah, on page 62.
Is this the Houndmaster? Yeah, this is on 62. Yeah. Wow. Very cool.
Yeah. It's an armored Borg monster. Dude, that's so dope. All right. Ooh, how about you want to read this one?
After I'll read it. After this, it's the GM section essentially. So kind of makes sense this is here. We're pretty deep in, I think, at this point. Houndmaster. Wait, do you want me to read Houndmaster? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I meant the next lines of the song.
The sick poem. I see the puppet, but where is the master? Dancing at the end of a wire, wooden feet in frenzy fire. I see the puppet, but where is the master? Pentagrams fold dimension doors, crystal sight on dreaded moors, dolmen rocks to cap the dead, iron nails in the puppet's head. Fuck yeah.
Dope. Did you get a chance to and look at the piece of art on the Master's Pinnacle page, which is literally It's like a hand holding a puppet, but it's like to a skeleton and shit. So good. Did you get a chance to read through the Master's Pinnacle at all?
I did not, actually.
Okay. There's some cool stuff in here. I like the 5-pointed star right at the beginning. It basically says there's 5 parts of the game: metal, earth, scenes, truth, and dice. And it says basically just keep it all balanced, like, and make sure that metal is just as important as the dice. Don't ever let the dice kind of like take you out of the theme and things like that, which is really cool. Your knowledge of dice mechanics should not eclipse the metal feel of things.
Okay, you got me.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah. Hear as much as you see. Literal lyrics. This is what the part that I was talking about earlier. The first session of EDS was conceived directly from Ozzy's lyrics in the metal super classic War Pigs. I wrote the lyrics in my journal and asked, what exactly could that mean for a session? An adventure, heroes, villains. I listened over and over, letting the words sink in. So you can find a song that resonates with you, that feels like an exciting fit for Viking Death Squad. Transcribe the lyrics and play in your session directly from each syllable. Take everything seriously, lose yourself in it. This method should kick your GM brain into new areas and new ideas. Really cool.
Super cool. I also think, like, we've gone over this before. And like, first off, how great it is to have all these games that are so musically inspired, but how, like, like Merkborg having its own soundtrack, Cyborg having its own soundtrack, like, music. And even like, Johan saying he had a playlist for when he made Into the Odd, like how music will influence like how you think about the game and how you play it. And it's just fucking cool, man. Yeah,
I completely agree. And I love like that since he did it that way, he's like, this is such a great way to do it. So yeah, love it. It talks about heavy fantasy, heavy materials, heavy stakes, heavy ending, heavy guts. Just go heavy with this shit.
Everything's so over the top. It's so ridiculous, not in the bad way at all, but it's like really over the top, really heavy. It really leans into the themes. Yeah. Like you are fucking Vikings listening to fucking not Metallica, but like, Black Sabbath. You're fucking Vikings listening to Iron Maiden and fucking
Iron Maiden,
killing demons and shit.
Yeah. I like that. Or it reminds me a little bit of Merkborg in a similar kind of over the top way, maybe a little bit less gonzo and a little bit more metal, but in that same kind of push into like a little bit more like almost like not worrying about being set in reality, just like saying just push it past, There's a section here on twisted turns where it says mid-session, have your group's leader roll on this table. And it gives you like D12 options to just put a like big twist right in the middle of the session, which is cool.
Fuck up in the middle.
Yeah. You can do what a lovely day. A vortex of wind and debris makes visibility and movement impossible for both sides. Tanks and Borgs tangle in the sky like leaves. Just roll right in the middle. I love that. Aspects of Earth, no comms, a found world, layered surface far from the sky. Warland stories, I like this. This is what I was talking about. There's like a little adventure story hooks for the Warlands, which is basically the human stuff, life pod, giant harvester. There is story hooks for the rings, which are cool. There's story hooks for the poison forest, which is like the spore, like and Eurasia forest. Really
cool piece of art.
Yeah. Oh, this piece right here. Yeah, this looks so sick. Of just like the ship over top of the planet, but it's all like spider webbed out, which is so cool. I believe that's for Nest. Rock spiders have established a colossal undulating hive of webs and debris in orbit, even capturing bubbles of air to nurture their countless young. Your ship becomes entangled, and the race to survive is on.
Fucking horrifying. That's horrifying.
So cool.
It's genuinely horrifying.
And again, I love that the art fits, like is inspired by parts in the book a lot of the time. Like, as opposed to just being like random pieces of art they just stick on pages. There's poison forest areas, there's hell story, there's hell ones. There's a table for like little things that people can notice. And then it goes into vehicle types. There's different types of starships, different type of other vehicles like the jet bike, skiffs, things like that. There's other tech that it talks about. It gives basically the breakdowns. Like a dart ship has 100 mass in armor. So I assume that means like they would take 300 hits to take down a dart ship. And it's got ballistic flight only. Yeah, right. A jet bike has 5. It says mass in armor. And it's super fast, single pilot only. Oh, this is a section I'm not going to look at all. I didn't even really look at it. It's War Pig Secrets. So it says make it Earth or whatever, but it's at first it may be difficult for the GM to visualize and improvise cool details about the War Pigs, an omnipresent enemy, but here's some of them. And then it gives the ranks of the Infinitum, Borg troops, Black Coats, all the way up to the Masters.
That's really cool. Useful.
Yeah. Yeah, super useful. Yeah. The Ash Fields is another like kind of adventure given. It gives a setup. It gives the details. It gives everything. Again, it's kind of random that this is just like right here in the middle of this, and then there's scenarios in the back, but it's cool. I really like it a lot. It gives some more stuff about rolling targets and basically just like, as a general rule, it's 3D or whatever, but there's other factors that you can bring into it. Inventing attacks. You've already looked through the monsters in the book, but here's a little thing on how to like create new monsters or create new attacks, which is really cool. I mean, there's so many little tiny bits that you put in the GM section.
There's so many little tools. There's so much like lore fodder for you to use. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Time is distance, tracking enemy hits, resolve is reward. Is there a thing here? I like the resolve is reward section, and I like that it's kind of this like catch-all, like you get bonuses with it, but it feels kind of like inspiration, and that you can use it to like add stuff to things. You get for rewards, things like that, and you cycle back with it. So it's kind of like a catch-all like way to kind of help the party a little bit, which I think is always really cool to do. Because, of course, everyone's going to die. The odds of winning out the campaign are small, so you might as well reward your players for doing, like, badass shit. It goes into a section on scenes. It says, don't pull your punches. Oh, I do like this section, though, right here a lot. It gives you basically, like, principles in combat to...
Oh, yeah, I did see this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Combat
it's basically
strategies.
Combat strategies, and it's a way to use that. So you get the standard pick, which is to it's the simplest kind of pull, is attacking a specific enemy to draw its attention and pull it away from its post, and that lets other players focus on fewer enemies. Excuse me. There's a decoy pick, there's the corner, there's the fun train, the
this should be higher
pull,
up. This should be in the player section.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's a player-focused topic, but it is listed here to help you design more challenging encounters. Encourage players, so it looks like he thought about that, yeah. Encourage players to consider the tactics on page 82. A pull is a player tactic to initiate combat with the select enemies. I like that there is, and I think I would definitely like pull these 2 pages up for the players to remind people it's not 5e. You don't just like walk your guys up in a line and have the other guys walk in a line and just like hit through a doorway. Like tactics are important, especially because you can't take a ton of hits before you go down. So I do like that it's in here, and it encourages that. So yeah, I think it could be higher. I understand why it's here, but I would definitely give that part to the players for sure. Oh, this is a part I didn't want to talk about a lot. Big knowledge. There are a few things player crave more than hidden truths. So there's like a bunch of hidden truths about the war pigs, about the titans and the fungal forest, and they are like big, huge things that could be like campaign and world altering that the players could learn that we're not going to even sit on. Yeah, so that we're not giving any spoilers. Gosh, I mean, there's still so many pages. No, we're getting to the scenario. Oh, to the enemies. Okay. Do you want to read on the next part of the poem or the lyrics?
Yeah, I will. Machines fall from the stars, fire burns stones and scars. A triangle of metal lies, fight a war on all 3 sides. Bones arise from rotten forests, joining hell's infernal chorus. Lonely few who dare defy a gleaming in 10,000 eyes. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Shit goes hard, bro. This piece of art is so ridiculous, but that we're about to
it's got to be Lucifer, right? Like the lead of the enemy page is
the enemy. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like Lucifer on a throne with these massive horns and stuff, but he's also got something in his lap. I said maybe like he's in a ship or something. Like, and this is But I love that he's got like the head, but it's got no mouth and these giant horns. But then the chest looks like a giant mouth with like teeth across his stomach and stuff. Such a sick piece of art. What? Who is the artist for this?
I will scroll back up and look.
Brandish Gilhelm, is that what it says?
Oh, you beat me.
I did.
Yep.
Sick. I mean, fuck yeah, dude. Their art is just amazing. Oh, this is another part. So we're in the enemy section, but it gives a bunch of this is a breakdown of how the each individual monster works, which is a provided stat block, but it's also got the tactics table, which I really like. But also it goes right into D12 encounter tables for each section of the map, which is, again, more lore, more help for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Warlands encounters, like slag
when we went
eaters.
through kingdoms, it's like each area has like, you're going to encounter these things in this area. It's like, oh, dude, thank you so much for making me not have to just come up with things to encounter in this area that you described. Like,
exactly.
Love that. Fantastic.
Like Borgs, a group of Borgs rise out of wreckage drawn by sound. Basically, it gives you a breakdown of the entire like DM table, but it's by section, so you know who goes where. So there's Warlane encounters, there's Rings encounters, Forest encounters, and Hell encounters, which is like the basics 1, 2, 3, which is like the basic 4 areas. Were there any bad guys you saw that you really wanted to take a peek at?
I like the armored Borg. I didn't really look into it. I just like the way it looks, you know?
Okay, so let's go through that as just like a breakdown of like how the page works, because every enemy looks like it has a piece of art and has an entire page dedicated to themselves. Do you want to read through Armored Borg then?
Yeah. Well, let me scroll back up. I was looking at Flame Beast. Armored Borg. Bigger, meaner. Borgs are the flimsy, teetering foot soldiers of the war pigs. These machines, however, are heavily armored killing machines. They are deployed as Borg commanders or on special operations to infiltrate and destroy human settlements by any means necessary. Corrosive exhaust. Anytime an armored Borg destroys armor or gets a kill, it also releases a burst of exhaust gas. All its foes must roll guts or suffer one hit against any one piece of armor. Brutal. So when it's already fucking you up, it's going to fuck you up extra.
Okay.
Its speed is 4D, pretty good. Number appearing is 1D2. So either 1 or 2, I guess. Flip a coin. Yeah. It rolls at D4. Brutal. Gear, it has 4 pieces of armor, a blast rifle, a gravity hammer, and 2 battle axes. Battle axes, melee attack on 2 foes. Chest beam, all foes roll speed or 1 armor destroyed instantly. Spike ram, automatically destroy any 1 enemy armor piece, no roll, and regroup, fall back, call for 1d4 dog. So this is like a commander, mini boss type guy.
Oh, hardcore. What I also love too is the tactics section. You don't even have to decide what they're going to do. You can just continuously roll a D8.
Sorry. Tactic rolls right below that. I did not scroll all the way down. But yeah, you can just, you're just going to roll a D8 and that's what they're going to do, you know?
Dude, I love that. It kind of reminds me of Kingdoms a little bit, how Kingdoms does like the loop.
Yes.
And I love this whole, literally 1 and 2 is axes, 3 and 4 is chest beam, 5 and 6 is spike ram, 7 and 8 is regroup. So you could literally just sit here. You could actually, even before you started doing the, if you wanted to, you could just roll like 8d8 and just write down 4, 8, 6, 7, 8, 4, 3, 2. Yeah. And then just know exactly what the guy's doing, and then maybe like adjust it with the tactics and the thing, but know exactly the layout of whatever loop you're doing. So sick, and that's for like every.
It's not that I won't think independently. Like I will, and I will change decisions. But it is nice to be like, hey man, like if you're having one of those days where you can't think, you know, don't worry about it. We've given you tools. Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you.
It's so good, and there's even another Borg beyond that, the Borg Hulk. But yeah. You got like sauropods, you got dogs,
God, the Borg Hulk is actually fucking worse.
Yeah, Dragonflies, Flame Beast, Forge Walker, Fungal Dead is cool. Yeah, let's go over Flame Beast and then we'll just move on from the enemies.
Cool.
But this is a cool one.
I'll do this one too. Demonic.
It.
Flame Beasts are the creation of Lucifer. They are made of coal and ghostly fire, constructs of unholy magic. They are often used as automatons to guard hell's fortresses, relentlessly pursue a given victim, or even possess the weak-souled. Fuck yeah, that sounds tight. Possessor. If a flame beast is destroyed, its fiery essence can blast into its slayer, possessing the target with demonic fury. When this occurs, roll 3d. For each 6 rolled, the victim is possessed by hellfire for a day, overtaken with destructive intent and obedience to Lucifer. Holy shit, that would fucking suck. Speed is 3d. And its appearing is 1d6, so between 1 and 6. It rolls 4d. Gear is iron armor, 1, so it's got 1 armor. Fire missiles, range attack, ignites flammable material. Once ignited, flammable gear destroyed next round unless extinguished. Burning Bite is melee attack, and it also ignites. Fire Dash, a leaping fire sprint. Beast relocates to ranged, leaving a line of flames behind them. So fucking brutal. The shit will just burn you up and potentially possess you. And it says, okay, possession when it occurs, I'm just gonna go back to this. You roll 3d. For each 6, the victim is possessed by hellfire for a day. A day.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it is pretty. It only has 1 piece of armor though, so 2 hits and it's done.
Yeah, but when it fucking dies.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right though. But yeah, when it dies, it can fucking possess you. And it's D6, man. Imagine running a 6 of these fuckers.
God.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Yeah, literally a nightmare. So that is how the enemies work, which is cool. There's marauders, which are traitors humans, because of course there would be. Like there absolutely fucking would be. Like in the face of literally human destruction, there's going to be assholes out there. They probably wear red hats too that would just totally fuck over humans. Like super hard.
You know what? I think Vladimir Putin has a good point, you know?
Yeah. War Machine. I mean, there's just so many cool. We're not going to dig through all this. Go buy the book. The whole enemy section is badass. The art on every page is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. And then there's a page section in the back that says, no 2 Borgs are ever quite the same. No 2 red lizards have the same number of teeth. Use this table to twist in enemy proportions. So there's literally a D20 table of like ways that you can twist the monsters to make them different, like radioactive, desperate, mutant, loner, like to make, again, dude, the fucking Hangman's Bear Nail killed it with this book, dude. Killed it.
This is a really good book.
Yeah. A section on the Barons of Hell and infinitive command. So basically it gives you a little bit more information on like the bosses, which is cool. Some more amazing artwork. There's a whole page here on making new monsters, which is really, really cool. Do you want to read out the last part of the song?
Bro, I would love to read the last part of the song.
Do it.
God, there are some really, really cool monsters, though. Like, honestly, the enemies part might be my favorite part of this book, you know?
It's so good. Like, the Wraith is badass. But, again, buy the book and look at it.
Yeah, look at it. Iron in hand, we see the wide eyes, men ready to die. The ready line on the other side. Our immortal captain loses a cry. The defiler descends, eater of worlds, here to watch the earth burn. Bones and ashes are all we see. Gravestones all will ever be.
Yeah. And then we get into the Blood and Justice section, which is I believe it's 9 basically scenarios, like 9 short adventures to go through right at the end, which is badass. Like Lucifer's Crown, Iron Bones and Iron Flesh, the Red Monolith. Really cool. We're not going to go through those at all. Go fucking buy the book.
You can go through them whenever you want.
You can go through them all the time. So we'll scroll right to the end. You get a character sheet right at the back, which is dope. Which gives you name, special skill, roll, oath, debt, code right on it. Just the type, you're either human or immortal. It marks off the 1d6 automatically on your 6 skills. It does give you these skill bubbles and stuff like that for your successes to add new skills. It marks out all 10 slots for your gear with 3 circles to fill in before they're destroyed. And then it's got the 4 armor sections off to the side as well. It's got all the marks you need, so you can mark off your blood runes, and it's got your 3 death marks on the bottom if you are an immortal, and then a bunch of notes on the back. Like, it's a really like clean character sheet.
It's a very good character sheet. It is very nice. It's super easy to understand. Like
a lot of room to write.
There's a lot of notes along the side too that tell you like the things that you need to know.
What humans start with, what immortals start with. Yeah. Gear and armor destroyed. Yeah, really, really good. And then that is the end of the book. You can go to vikingdeathsquad.online. I got mine from Modifius, which I think it directs you to Modifius. And don't forget, for all you people out there, Modifius, a lot of times when you Google search, will still take you to the UK page. There's a US page with US distribution, so that the book does not cost $1 million, because US versus UK, somehow the pound is way more than ours right now. It's like 1.2 or 5 or something like that. And you're not going to pay shipping from fucking the UK. So there is a Modifius US page. So go get your Viking Death Squad or Dune or whatever you're going to get from the US page if you're in the US. And if you're not, don't fucking listen to that. Yeah. And that, my friends, is the end of Viking Death Squad. I do have to say again, Jason, who is our Merkborg DM and player over on the Adventure Archive, is the one who told me about this book at all. And it was an awesome purchase. I'm super happy with this. I want to play it super, super bad. The book is fucking gorgeous. And this is one of my more favorite ones that we reviewed. So speaking of that, why don't we go into the review for Viking Death Squad? I will say, I wish there was a text logo. It would make my job easier. There's not, but here it is. So quick breakdown of the 5 things, like we always do. We rate things out of 50. There's 5 sections that go up to 10 points. Art and style is how cool the art is, how well it's used, and if the style is consistent and fits the book. Layout and function is how well the book is laid out as far as like readability, and function is how the sections are laid out, how easy it is to read, if the PDF is hyperlinked, all those kind of things. Rule set and crunch is if it's a new rule set, is it good? If it's an old rule set, how well is it used in the game? And crunch is, does it feel like the amount of rules fit what the game is trying to do? Originality is a very broad one. Originality in game design and design in general and all those kind of things. And then value, which we feel is very important, because if your book is too expensive, we can't play your game. So don't make a $50 book and a $30 PDF or and a $20 VTT. So you got to pay $110 just to play the fucking game. And value is more than just cost of the book. It's also the bang for your buck. Do you get a PDF with it? Does it have third-party license? Does it have an SRD? Does it have all those kind of things? Are there online resources? All that shit. That is super important. So those are the 5 things. So starting with art and style. What's thoughts?
I mean, fuck, the art's so good. I mean, it's not an art book, so it won't be a 10. I'm going back through. There are pages where there's a couple pages at a time where there is no art, but not many. Here, I was
gonna say there's art on there's art on
85 to 90% of the pages.
Which again, we don't need art on every single page. There has to be words too, but there's not a
fantastic.
Single. Yeah, and it doesn't feel just like stuffed in there. You know what I mean? Like it feels like all of the.
What if we give it a 9 to in art?
Oh, I'll have to look. Oh, I also do want to show, I don't think you see it in there too, the internal pages in the hardback.
Oh, what the fuck? No.
Yeah, super cool, super cool. It's like these, I think it's like Borgs in the inside. So even more so in the book, and let's not forget the art, which makes up the foil front cover of the book too. But what have we given a 9 to as far as art? Let me bring up all of our scores real quick because I have it in a folder. Merkborg obviously got a 10. So Necro Nautilus and Warpland got a 9. Into the Odd got an 8. Orbital Blues and Kingdoms both got 9s. I mean,
this is a 9. This is a 9 of art.
Easy. Yeah.
This is an easy 9 for.
Yeah.
Like, the art's fantastic. There's a ton of it. The art's really good in this.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really cannot tell you how much I enjoyed the style of this book.
Yeah, it's really good. The artist definitely did a killer job all throughout. And I definitely, as soon as I saw like Warpland, I was like, yeah, easily on the level of Warpland. And maybe not quite on the level of Warpland. Warpland was like damn near a 10 just because of the way that they did a lot of the things in it, especially like the atmosphere pieces and stuff like that. Yeah. But it is definitely on the same level. It's definitely on the same level as things like Kingdoms and Orbital Blues. So for sure a 9. Layout and function. So obviously there's a lot of things missing that make it not a 10, as in the PDF is not hyperlinked at all.
Right.
The PDF is also not the most updated version of the book. We did talk about that a little bit. There are a bunch of typos in the PDF.
I would be okay taking a point away for that, because I think that does affect it.
It does affect, because I mean, we are reading the PDF. This is a digital world, and if you're playing online, again, nothing major, but it would be nice if it was 1.5 PDF, since it was updated to the
There's also a couple things that I would put in different orders in the book. Like I would put the tactics page way higher and be like, this is for game masters and players. Like, you should understand tactical combat. Game master, you should use this against your players. Players, you should use this against your game master. It's like enemies, you know?
I don't disagree with that at all.
When it's after a bunch of like already GM stuff, like I know a lot of people I play with won't read the GM stuff if they're playing with me, because they're like, I'm not gonna ruin anything.
Oh, well, they shouldn't. Right. Exactly. But like, as a GM, you would be like, hey, go check this out. I will say, and this is just a little bonus, there's two ribbons in this book too. That's why we'll talk about it in the value section.
2 ribbons.
But the pages individually are really well laid out. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of info, and it is double layered, but the book's not enormous. Like, it's a regular, kind of like size, like, RPG size book. It's not a full size. So I don't think that they make the pages I don't think there's any pages where it's just like solid text in both columns. There's like little like asides or piece of art or anything.
It's dense in the lore section, but it's still broken up by art. It still doesn't feel claustrophobic on the page. It's still easy to read.
So it's kind of hard, because I feel like there's things to definitely take off, like no bookmarks or hyperlinks. There's typos in the PDF. There's sections we would move around.
So 6?
I'm between like a 6 and a 7, because 5 is average.
I'm also between 6 and 7, because it's not bad. It's still pretty good. So,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I think otherwise it's laid out well. I think the layout itself is well done. I'm between a 6 and 7, because 5 is average. It's not bad. 5 is not bad. It's just average. I can't think of anything about it that's like super above average beyond that, though. I'd be fine with this getting a 6 or a 7.
I honestly would be too. The cat has an opinion. What have we given to a 7 to? This is what we do. This is how we work it out. What have we given a 7 to?
Lancer, Troika.
It's a 7.
What have we given a 6 to? Casketland.
It's a 7.
Casketland's the lowest one we've ever given it to.
Yes, I know. And there was a reason for that. This is better than Casketlands.
Okay, 7's fine. I'll go with that. We should just give Casketlands was literally
missing a whole section.
yeah. We should have given them lower than a 6 on that too.
I want to negotiate that with them. Rule
set and crunch. I mean, it's clearly its own rule set.
What's up?
It's clearly its own rule set.
Totally, absolutely. I think the rule set seems like it's a really good idea. I don't know, because I haven't played it, and I will say that it's a technically like a dice pool rule set, but not in a really annoying way, because a lot of dice pool rule sets fucking suck. Because you're like, well, I'm gonna roll like 12 d4s or whatever. I mean, I think at one time in playing help me, what am I Shadowrunner.
Oh, okay. I've never played Shadowrun.
It's Shadowrun. It's you can get really high on dice pools. It sucks terribly, but this is great. Seems really cool. Seems really chaotic, which I think is the point. And you can like really whiff or really hit, and I really like that. I think the rule set's good, and it feels good for what you're going for. You can have these epic narrative moments, and it really bakes it into a lot of the rules. I think this one's probably a good 7 for me.
Yeah, I think 7. 7 is what we gave Troika. And when I'm looking through, of course, we've never given a 10. Necronalis got an 8. Merkborg got an 8. The only thing, we've only given like 2 games a 9, I think, Into the Odd in 12 years. But like we also think for what, for what they did, they were like perfect. You know, as perfect as you can get for it. And we have a lot of 8s too. Nova, we felt like had an 8. Orbital Blues had an 8. Mothership had an 8. Red Giant had an 8.
I think this is. I don't know that I like this as much as I like those.
Okay, I'm good with a 7 on this.
Yeah, I still like it. I don't think it's bad at all.
No, not at all. I think it's really cool and really interesting. Yeah. This is also one of the ones that we've talked about before, the rule set and crunch specifically, where once we play a game, it could get bumped up. Because I think we called Into the Odd an 8, but then you ran it and we're like, fuck no, this is a 9.
And I loved it. God, I had such a good time playing that game.
Yeah. The more time that we, this I feel like is one of the ones that's going to be the one that like when we actually go back and get a chance to play a bunch of these games, we're going to go back and be like, these 4 games got bumped up by 1 because the rule set is actually fucking awesome. But yeah, okay. So originality. I mean, so we played dark games before. This one doesn't profess to like reinvent grimdark or whatever. But I can't think of another game I can play that's, 8,000 years in the future where you bring back like immortal Vikings have been augmented in torturous cryostasis, but you also get to fight hell and like a poisonous fungal forest, but it doesn't feel slapped together. You know what I mean?
No, this thing stands on its own is its own thing, and I get the inspirations, but from what it is inspired by, but it doesn't necessarily feel like those things,
Right.
This is pretty original, and the lore is really good. The world's great. This is pretty high for me.
We've given 1 10 and 2 9s. 1 10 was obviously Necronalis. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
The 9s were Kingdoms and Merkborg.
I think this is a 9 for originality.
You think so?
Do you think it's lower? Or?
Well, no. I mean, not only that, because we're not even, again, originality is not just the the setting. First of all, awesome, like 20 plus pages of lore plus lore throughout the entire book, and again, it doesn't feel like it's all slapped together. Like if you said fungal forest and cryo Vikings and shit, I'd be like, how's this all going to fit together? It does. But the rule set
it's
too,
totally effortless. It feels supernatural. Like
no part of it ever felt out of place. And even once it got to the spells, it was like I actually really like that stuff.
It's really pretty good, man.
Yeah. So you're putting this on the same level as Merkborg and Kingdoms?
Yeah, what would we give an 8 to?
Into the Odd, Warpland, Ark, Mothership, Orbital Blues, a lot of 8s, 12 years.
I mean, it's
Nova.
between, I'll let you call it. It's between an 8 and a 9 for me. I'm very comfortable with either of those. I think this is a really great setting. And I really enjoyed this, and it feels like kind of familiar adjacent, but really its own thing at the same time,
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of things we gave 8s to, like for example, like Orbital Blues and Mothership, we love, but there is a little bit of a precedent as far as space horror and
I've seen the movie Alien before, so Mothership wasn't the
space
first time
western and stuff like that. But like I've never watched a movie or of again, cryo space Vikings fighting demons and fungal undead. No. I'm good with the 9 on this. Like super good with the 9 on this.
You're fighting an alien empire and the armies of hell.
And Titans of the Fungal Forest of Eurasia. Like, yeah, love it. Love it. Okay, so value-wise, I believe on Modifius, I always fear that I'm saying that wrong. Modifius. Oh, Viking Desk was already right there.
Oh,
I think it's $35. Oh, I need to go to the US page. How much is it?
Oh, I guess I didn't have it pulled up. But did I X out of it? Where'd it go? Oh, it's right here. It's yeah, no, it's like 45, I think.
47.
47. There we go.
$47.
I went back and it went back to the pound. But yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. One thing about it being $47, we've talked about this multiple times. It's a special edition of a book. There is no regular edition of the book. It's fucking beautiful, right? I mean, the pages do feel a little thin. I will say that. They feel kind of like magazine pages, but the cover is gorgeous. It does have 2 ribbons inside. You do get the PDF, although it's not updated. You also do get, I don't think I talked about this yet. You do get a, like an SRD for this. Like, it's a 7-page, like, let me just look this up. Breakdown of like how to do, it's called the Hacker's Core. It's core rules for home brewers. And it's 7 pages of basically how the game works, and a little bit of like breakdown of like how to create skills, how to create gear, how to do a bunch of stuff. So that's a cool thing that I think definitely gets a bonus.
And the PDF only is $12.50 on drive-through.
Oh, that's not bad at all. $12.50 for a PDF seems okay.
This is gonna take some hits. I think 47. What's up?
Well, apparently I get not wrapped into the 47, but there is a soundtrack and VTT as well that you can get.
But that's separate from the $47.
Right. So again, so base price, expensive. I thought 35 would be good for this. I know it does have a little bit of extras involved in it. I think that a thicker paper, it would be nicer too. So we know base price probably drops it down to like a 4. But the access to third-party content with the Hacker's Guide, the access to a soundtrack, the access to a VTT, the access to his YouTube channel where he does go over campaign stuff and guides for it and stuff too. A lot of bonus stuff outside of the cost of the game. What are your thoughts? What's in your brain?
I wouldn't put this above a 6. So I think 6.
Why?
Because it's $50 for the book. You know,
I understand that, and we're definitely knocking points off of the cost of the original book, but there's so much extra. I'm not saying the 6 is wrong. I'm just saying there's so much more. Again, soundtrack, VTT, third-party content, campaign stuff on YouTube.
Isn't the soundtrack and the VTT separate from the $47?
Right, but a lot of the stuff that we've looked at before, there's stuff that's separate that still has things that like other things don't even have access to that.
Yeah, but a lot of that stuff too, the actual book itself was cheaper, and then it also had other stuff. This book is expensive and has other stuff to buy. I mean, you know, you can be the tiebreaker on this one because I'm super married to it, but like, I mean, it kind of does get the point because it's $12.50 for the PDF, but a $50 book, and that's you just get the book. I mean, the SRD is great, but a lot of people are not going to use that, and a lot of people, you know, might not have the time or just the want. They just want to pick up a game. A lot of those games what did we give a 7.2 for what would we given a 6.2 for value before?
A lot. I mean, I think the average of our games is like a 6. Let me look. And again, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Also, it is only 127 pages. It is a very small book for $47.
Yeah. For $50, it's a 47, but like with tax and shipping,
47
you're looking at 50.
Tax and shipping? Oh, you're looking at way more than that. What is it when you actually get to tax and shipping?
I'm gonna pull it up right now because I already have it in my cart.
Gotcha. You do that, and then I'll go through what we've given from the beginning. We gave Troika 5 because it was very expensive, and you didn't get a whole lot of stuff too. Lancer 6, Necronalis 7. Warpland is 6, Into the Odd is 7, Ark 8, Red Giant is 6, Mothership is 7, Orbital Blues is 6. Kingdoms a 7, lots of 7s. I don't know if like very few things have gone above that. I think Casketland got a 10 because it's basically fucking free. And Merkborg got a 10.
Casketlands was basically free.
Merkborg got a 10 because the book's not that expensive, and you get like so much extra content. You could literally play the game without ever getting the book because you can get like the core rules and every fucking adventure under the sun for free. So average, I think we give about like a 6.5 or a 7.
I had the UK store pulled up again because I refreshed my page. So give me just a second. I don't want to do that. Calculating. So $9 shipping. So it's $56 then.
With tax and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing. I love it and I paid it, but that's really expensive. Like, it's really expensive. And I'm sure part of that is because I don't know if he's US based, so it's converting like pounds to US dollars.
Yeah, we really are getting, you and I are getting fucked by that this year.
Fucked by pounds.
Yeah, fucked by the pound, bro.
You know, and again, there is access to a lot of other stuff, but like you said, none of it's added in. And if you look at Merkborg, all of the online stuff that they created, free. Like the Death in Space, like add-on, like the character creator or whatever, free. So if you wanted to get this and the VTT, I don't know how much that is, but I can imagine it's at least like 10 to 20 bucks for the VTT. So to really get all of that, you're looking at like, you know, 70 plus bucks potentially for a 127 page book. It's expensive. We'll say that. It's expensive for value. So bang for your buck, because all of that stuff does cost money too. I mean, VTT is free.
Yeah, I just found that the VTT is free.
I forgot. I think he created his own VTT that's just accessible to everybody.
So it's free, but you have to log in with Patreon. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I guess I just have to log in with Patreon. So maybe, I guess it is just free.
Oh, here's this. Runehammer has their own VTT. Yeah. And it looks pretty, I remember going through this. It looks pretty dope.
Okay.
So the VTT,
I would bump it up to a 7, you know?
Well, I was almost saying we should make it a 5 because it is expensive as fuck.
It is pretty fucking expensive.
I'm good with this being a 6 or a 5. Yeah, I'm good with this because there's access to a bunch of cool stuff. But it's so expensive. Like, it's so expensive. I didn't even really look. I was just like, yeah, I wanted, I bought it. Looking at it now, I'm like, fuck, I spent a lot of money on this.
That's so funny. You're like, oh yeah, wait, fuck.
I mean, listen, it's a gorgeous book. I could afford it, so I got it. But it is really fucking expensive.
It is a really beautiful book. The art's fantastic.
Man, we have just been hitting this number a lot on a lot of different ways, which is really interesting. Again, so when you look at our scores and stuff, the total score just kind of gives you like a range or an idea of where it sits. But you need to look at each individual score to really see what it is, because there are some games that we've done that have like decent scores, but 1 or 2 of them are super low and 1 or 2 of them are super high, so it averages out. This one does hit a nice like solid average 9.7796, and it comes out to a 38, which we've given a couple to. So for example, like,
bro, 38's our favorite score.
I think that makes it basically just an average good book. And then Nova, our very last game we did was a 38, but it was 78887. So a little bit less in the art and style, but more consistency throughout like the rule set and the layout and stuff like that. And then Forbidden Psalm got a 38 too, but it was 68987. So art and style got a little bit low, but a lot of the other stuff really dragged it up, including the value. So when you look at the scores, don't just look at the total score number. Definitely look at
the things
like
you care about in a game. You know?
Exactly. If you want an art book, this is really good. Merkborg is way up there. Warplane's really good up there. But if you're looking for a value in your game, Merkborg is still way up there. Caskland is still way up there.
And if you don't give a shit about art and you're like, whatever, man, I'm incredibly creative and I'm just looking for a spark to lead me in a direction in a game to play it, then you don't need to fucking look at the art score, you know?
Exactly.
Look at the rule set and crunch and the originality layout, you know?
And again, we haven't given a whole lot of 10s out. I think there's only I think value is actually the only thing we've given 2 10s for, and that's basically Caskland and Merkborg, just because Merkborg has so much free content. It's almost impossible not to.
It is so much content.
you can get everything you want for Casking Light, even if you get all the adventures digitally. It's like $5, I think, maybe.
Yeah, so, it's 10 even for one, and then almost everything else is free, I think. So
yeah, exactly. So this is Viking Death Squad. A lot of high points in art and originality. I feel like after we play it, rule set and crunch might actually bump up by 1 to a 39. It's definitely a new rule set that has like this could be really, really cool. But we'll see how it goes. And then, yeah, we will announce the next game on our Instagram.
And Twitter.
And Twitter. Don't forget to that. And hey, do us a solid. Follow us on all of those things. We are here on Twitch. We're only 5 followers away from 500. On Twitter, we're only 5 followers away from 100. And Instagram, we got a bunch or whatever, but like 125. There's no milestone coming up for that one. But drop us a follow. Drop us over a follow on YouTube too. You can check out the actual play side of Adventure Archive. A lot of really cool stuff there. We are going forward going to be switching our podcast, if you noticed today, to Sundays until the beginning of May. So be around same time, just one day later. And we'll see what's going on with that. And again, we will talk about the game that we're going to do next week, and we'll announce that on Wednesday. Is when I usually do that. Yeah. So check out all that stuff out. I got to go to bed since we moved to Sunday. I work tonight instead of last night. So Hunter, this has been a great one. Big fan of this, even though it was a little bit expensive. But
still really cool. Super cool.
So cool. Yeah, super cool. So that's it for us. Great episode. You have a good day, buddy.
So good to see you. Have a great night. Sleep well. Sleep tight, homie.
I will sleep so tight.
And you know what, chat? You guys sleep tight as well. And you out there in podcast land or watching the VOD, go to bed right now. I don't care what time it is. Go get in bed. Sleep well.
Catch some Z's. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye.